Okay, just checking your.
And what year would that be?
A long time ago.
1948.
Thank you. Anyway, some of the surprising things that his team has discovered about the Ford Heritage Vault. So, Ted, did you just open the Heritage Vault here recently?
We actually opened the Heritage Vault. Hey, thanks for having me on this morning.
Sure.
But we opened Heritage Vault in June last year, June 16th, to celebrate Ford's 119th anniversary, which means 120 is just around the corner. Mm-hmm. But Ford had never had a public site for enthusiasts and fans and media to go to download free images. So we started with about 5,000 images last year. At the very beginning, we only had Ford vehicles. We've now added Lincoln and Mercury and Edsel and F-Series and Ford of England. We're up to over 10,000 images and brochures. And the site, the URL is FordHeritageVault.com. And what stunned us is the usage never went down. When we launched last year, the site went down for a couple of days because it was so popular. But even a random Tuesday in November, we were still averaging 3,000 to 5,000 downloads and 5,000 to 10,000 people a day in the site. So one of my best days ever at work was when Top Gear magazine did an editorial on the site saying, "Don't go to the site if you don't think you're going to lose an afternoon falling in love with Ford cars all over again."
Well, how wonderful is that? I mean, I know that I surf the internet for things like that, and I've never actually owned a Ford. Not that I wouldn't own a Ford. It's not that at all. It's just that I've never had the opportunity, and I know the popularity of the Ford F-Series pickup truck and, biggest selling vehicle pretty much of all time outside of the Model T and the Model A. But I understand that there was a point back in December, the week of December 7th, you were getting almost 40,000 hits a day. Is that right?
That's right. That when the Ford of England collection went live and that Top Gear review went live, we were just getting slammed with traffic. Although, frankly, guys, we're getting slammed with traffic even as we speak right now because for the last week, we've been celebrating the 75th of the F-Series. And for that 75th, we loaded a ton of F-Series content. You can get a picture of every F-Series between 1948 and 2003. And even better, you can get access to over 400 brochures on the F-Series. Not just the trucks, but the accessories. So you can see the camping packs and the snow plows. And one of my favorites is I think it was late 60s, early 70s when the 8-track was first offered.
Oh, yeah.
So would you have
these great tidbits on the F-Series right now?
Would you have the window stickers as well? The Maronis?
We don't have the window stickers. That's actually a really good idea. We could get the build books out there. That'd be fantastic.
Yeah.
That'll be down the road, though, on that one. You talked about the Model T. Do you know F-Series has actually outsold Model T 2-1?
No, it has?
40 million F-Series have been sold in these 75 years. It's been the best-selling vehicle in America for 40 years, best-selling truck for 46, particularly in Texas, where it just dominates the landscape in Texas. It's amazing. Number 2 may surprise you, or number 2/3, the lowly old Ford Fiesta, more than 22 million of those sold. Model Ts, there are only 15 million sold.
Only. That's a lot of cars. How in the world did you get roped into this, or were you just a fan, or have you been an employee of Ford for a while?
No, actually, I professionally trained archivist. If you guys like sugary water, I was the archivist at Coca-Cola for 21 years. And then Ford recruited me up there to Dearborn to begin to do things like activate the vault, to make the Ford brands more available to the public. So the vault's been a great boon for the company. We've got all these fans getting in there. And sit back and wait, guys, for the 120th. The concepts are coming. My goal is to have every single concept vehicle ever produced by Ford available on the site. So you can go see the Futura and the Gion and the Nucleon and all the crazy concepts.
Yeah.
There was a Ranchero concept F-Series done in the 60s. It's cool stuff. It'll blow you away when it goes live.
So you're an online museum.
Basically, that's it. When we built out the site, one of the goals was I have multiple kids who've gone through high school and college was to have something that anybody that wanted to go write a term paper on Mustang or F-Series or the Pinto or my first car, the Mercury Capri, they could go find pictures, brochures, and information and not have to go to Wikipedia. So, but at the same time, I know all the enthusiasts. My dad owns multiple historic vehicles. He loves it because he can go look up his 1940 Continental and find out what paint color the engine was. You know, all the things that enthusiasts of our products would want access to, they can now access it in the vault.
Let me ask you, is there an actual, real, honest-to-goodness vault that you get some of these images from?
We do. We have a 30,000 square foot building that has 16,000 cubic feet of material stored on 6 miles of shelving. Get this, guys, 6 miles. The cranks and the shelf moves.
A lot of microfiche.
Yeah, we have, actually, we do have microfiche as well, but we have more than 3.5 million photos. That was the strength of the collection. Henry Ford, from the very beginning, believed in photographing and documenting everything. So we have more than 3.5 million photos, and we've scanned so far about 150,000 of them. And the best of the best are making it into the vault. So, and the best thing too, free and downloadable. We probably early next week will hit our 1 millionth download in 6 months. So we know that if we put the content out there, what's that old movie saying? If you build it, they will come.
Yep.
Well, people are coming and they're loving what they're seeing.
Well, I'm curious. I want to go. I want to see. And how is it categorized?
It's done by make, model, year, and color. So the color was one of the things I made the staff do. They didn't want to do it at first, but I was just curious to see, okay, how many red cars do we do in 1970? So you can click the red button, and then you'll get all the different red images. So you can sort by make, you can sort by Ford. You can do all of F-Series, but you could do Ford F1 and not even put a year, and it will bring back all the F1s. And that generation only lasted a couple of years. So
Wow.
It's sortable by color, by make, by model, and by year.
So do you have a weekly feature that you put up there at the opening page?
Monthly, because it takes a while to do it. I've got a team of 6, and this is a labor of love for us. But it takes so the next one will be international products will be going live in April, so that you can see your Australian Utes and your South African Rangers, and you can get all the access to the great products the way we did Ford of England. And that was what was so cool, was putting the Anglia and the consoles and the Ford Prefects online and the Transits. Guys, to us, Transit's just a van. In England, Transit has a collector club that's every bit as strong as the Mustang Club in the U.S.
Wow.
Good. Conrad, there you go.
And the Cortina.
And the Cortina.
Yes. Hopefully one of you on your computers is looking at it now, and you can give me feedback on it. If you like it, don't like it, what we need to add to it in the future.
Yeah, I've posted the link on our social media.
So who tapped you on the shoulder and said, hey, we know that you've done this over at Coca-Cola. Come and do this for us.
It was in the communications department, and that was an awkward series of interviews, including going all the way up to Edsel Ford. And but the thing was, Ford, you could see that there was a diamond in the rough there. Ford has such an amazing history. We have Willow Run, we have the Rouge, we have the Model T, the Model A, the 32 flathead V8. I mean, Le Mans, we just finished celebrating Le Mans, and this is the 100th anniversary of Le Mans in general. So get ready, there's more to come on that one. And there was all these great stories that just needed to be told. And I had done Santa Claus and polar bears and color red and the bottle long enough, so it was time for a new challenge. This has been fun. I can't tell you how amazing Ford's history is and how excited. I thought co-collectors were excitable until I got to my first Mustang enthusiast meeting. Oh my gosh, they're crazy.
Yes, we are.
They're passionate people.
Yeah.
Passionate is an under, and then I should have seen it with my dad. My dad has a Model A, a 40 Continental, a 56 Mark II, and a 02 Thunderbirds. I mean, he was a collector already, so I should have seen anybody that would have 5 cars like that is enthusiastic about their subject matter.
Ted, do you have any video or film that's in the archive?
That's coming. The site isn't prepared to handle it yet, but the things that are coming down the pike will be place photos so that you can see Willow Run and the Rouge. Right now it's only make, model, year, and then video will be coming hopefully by the end of the year, so that we can put we can't put our TV commercials because we don't have the rights to them. The on-air talent isn't going to like it if we put it back up there again. But we can put B-roll and we can put moving running footage of all the different vehicles.
But it's okay to have all that on YouTube, apparently.
We don't put it there. That's just fans doing it. So when you find it on YouTube, that's just some enthusiast, some fan who found some footage and put it up.
Wow.
I'm absolutely thrilled. It's
And wait till
truly
you do
wonderful.
the Ford race car series. That'll be another whole huge package.
That's a
in the
rights
future.
issues, right? Because the minute that you see Shell or BP or Pennzoil or
Gulf.
Goodyear on the car, we don't have the rights to those. So we're working with our third-party vendors to get permission. So that is my goal for early next year. This Daytona 500 next year. I can't do it this year. I'm hoping to unleash the Daytona 500 and a history of racing images on you.
Yeah, just pixelate it.
Yeah, pixelated.
Blur them out. Yes, that's it.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because once you start thinking about all of the things that are available to you, you just assume that if it's a Ford vehicle, you can just throw it up there and you're good to go. But that's not necessarily the case. And what a job that is to untangle that web,
Yeah.
to get the rights to do this, to put the BP logo that you see going by that's slapped on the side of the car, etc.
Yes, Lotus by Ford, even though it's fantastic imagery, and Lotus and Ford were partners at the time, we don't have the Lotus trademark.
So it doesn't
so
fall under editorial use type thing?
We can put it, since we made it available for free download, we could put it on a media site for editorial use. And if you wrote me as a journalist and said, can you send me those images, I can do it. But we just put it there. There's no restrictions. We don't track who comes in. So to have it completely free and open like that, we just have to be cognizant of the rights that the third party.
So if you do it, you got deep pockets, you got to pay for it. But if us cheap
Correct.
journalists do it, then we don't have to
Cheap
pay.
journalists, yeah, that's it.
hey.
That you know how we are.
Broke is the word I should be using. Yeah.
I resemble that remark.
Exactly.
The Henry Ford. Do you have any connections with the Henry Ford and any of the images from inside the Henry Ford and some of the displays that are there? Is that available?
We do, not in the vault. Just for your listeners or watchers that don't know, the Henry Ford was founded by Henry Ford in 1928 as the Edison Institute, opened in 32. Mm-hmm. It's a fantastic museum, one of the world's top 20 museums, focuses on cars, but also focuses on innovation, everything else.
Yes.
They are a completely separate entity. We do have an editorial agreement where we share with them and they share with us. But Ford donated most of its early imagery to the Henry Ford in the 1950s. So they have access to that. We have some of it, which is in the vault, but we try to not blur the lines with the vault. They have their own website called the Benson Ford Research Center that your listeners can go find interesting material as well.
Well, I bring that up because I know that the Lotus that won the Indy 500 is in the Henry Ford, and that just triggered my mind. It's truly a wonderful depository of history, and not just Ford cars. And people say, "Oh, the Henry Ford's nothing," but no, it's not just cars.
Yeah, I grew up about 20 minutes from all of that, the Willow Run, the Rouge, the Henry Ford. And, in fact, a good friend of mine, Todd Sheldon, actually worked summer jobs in one of the little cantina cafes there at Henry Ford for the summer. So, very, very interesting and a lot of history.
So, Ted, all the years that you worked for Coca-Cola, are you still living in Atlanta?
No, I am actually sitting in Atlanta right now at my parents' house because we came down to help them get it redecorated after Christmas. But I live in Dearborn, or I actually live in Grosse Pointe near Dearborn.
Yep.
And we made the move. So when you moved away from Michigan to warmer Texas, I think that you may have made a wiser.
I was 22 years old, and I'm a little older now. So
the cold is taking a little bit to get used to up in Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
But, it's worth it for the job. So.
Well, and what a wonderful job. So what does your day consist of?
I've got the best job in the world, and it's because there are no 2 days that are alike. On Friday, my meetings all consisted of preparing for the 120th anniversary, and I'm doing a deep dive on the Ford GT program with the author in England. We are efforting to discover every piece of written correspondence between Shelby and Alan Mann Racing and Holman and Moody and Ford Motor Company to really knock, to tell the accurate story of Ford versus Ferrari in 1966. So I was scanning memos between Ford and Alan Mann all day Friday and planning 120. And that, every single day is different. It just depends what project pops up to the surface.
Well, scanners seem to be the whole crux of this, because we're talking about an era that lasts a long time, and basically it's all still photographs, or most of it, I would imagine. Like you said, I'm sure that there's film going back that far, but the scanner, I can't even imagine the quality of the scanner that you have to use.
We have a high quality scanner, and it's interesting too. We still keep the original materials in the original form because there's no guarantee
Right.
that the digital version will be alive. If you go back and try to open up a Windows 95 document today, you've got to do a lot of different hoops to get it to actually open up. But what scanners have done is they've made it easier. They've made the material accessible. You used to have to, y'all are journalists. I'm sure you remember writing physical letters
Yes.
to people and then getting back, reproduction scans or 35 millimeter slides that you would then have to, but it's made it where we can put the material online and we can make it available to the public. We've now had, the stats are just stunning. We've had people from 167 countries visit the vault over the 6 months it's been up and going. And,
Wow.
and interestingly to me, a couple of countries that would surprise you, like South Korea, Croatia of all countries, and Australia are in the top 10 of all-time usage. The ones that you would expect, Germany, England, US, yes, they're there, but Croatia in the top 10. So there's car fans everywhere. That's why an entire industry exists around talking and writing and dreaming about cars is people love them. I always joke with people that you give nicknames to a couple of things: your kids, your pets, your boats, and your cars. And it's because we fall in love with them.
Do you do the research as to why you have people in, say, for instance, Croatia, that is downloading all of this stuff?
I did precautionary research. I just wanted to make sure somebody in Croatia wasn't suddenly selling Ford T-shirts. So our licensing team did. There is a disclaimer on the front page of the vault that it's only for personal use or editorial use, not for. So I just took a quick look. No, we actually are very careful, and we don't track individual IP addresses for privacy reasons. Europe and California have very, very stringent privacy laws, so we have to adhere by those. So I assume, in my mind's eye, somebody from a club in Croatia, a Mustang club or a Cortina club or a Fiesta club heard about the site and told some of their friends, and they told some of their friends, and suddenly once you've downloaded 10, the next 100 are easy. So you just get used to it and driving that traffic.
Well, it's
Very
absolutely
cool.
fascinating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you already have an agreed working relationship with Shelby?
Yes, Aaron Shelby visited the archives, and we actually did a display with Carroll's stuff in the archives, just to, as an icebreaker between the companies, just to say, hey, this is what we're trying to do with Carroll Shelby's legacy. So, for example, in Sebring 65, I found a series of images that have never been seen before, and there aren't rights or marks on those, so I know I can publish those. So that will be, when we do motorsports, we'll be able to do that. And that way you're doing it in a way that honors Shelby and Shelby's legacy. And anything that we share with Shelby, with other external authors, we share back in digital form back with Shelby Enterprises.
I was going to say, is there an opportunity to maybe put a television show together and go through the years up into today's time?
Starring you.
Yeah.
If y'all want to pitch it, I will put you in touch with the right person. The Ford versus Ferrari movie awakened the world to the tale that the automobile gearheads knew that story. They didn't need to be told. They also know the true story about it as well. The Ford versus Ferrari was a beautiful movie, but an excellent work of fiction. And there wasn't a whole lot of truth there. And I begged somebody to come along and tell the actual story. The Go Like Hell book is out there, and it's fantastic. And there have been a couple of other accounts, but it's such a deep, rich story. And the documents that we've uncovered, I actually found the contract that was on Enzo Ferrari's desk that he turned down, and found a telegram back from Italy to the United States saying that negotiations have been canceled. And then I found the first letter that went to Eric Broadley. For those who don't know, he had the Lola car, and that was what Ford wanted to use as the inspiration for the GT. So there's some amazing material there.
Ted, we could talk to you all morning long, and we sure appreciate you taking the time and getting up on a cold, wintry morning up there in Michigan to talk to us. Thank you so much.
He's in Atlanta.
I'm in Atlanta today.
Oh, Atlanta today. Well, that's right. Yeah, but you live. When you headed back up north?
Monday morning.
Well, let me just say this, that, our weather precedes their weather in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got some cold weather coming your way there in Atlanta, too.
Yeah, locusts, too.
Locusts. Ted, thanks again. We appreciate you, sir.
Thanks for having me on. And everybody, raise a glass to 75 years of the F-Series.
Amen.
Perfect.
Ford Archive and Heritage Brand Manager Ted Ryan. All right. Thank you, sir. Yeah, very cool. All right. Time now for this hour's car review. Mr. Mars has a look at the Infiniti QX60. Mr. Mars.
Yeah, it did. So this is the.
What did you do?
I don't know.
I had a look at this car. So this is the second generation. This actually was a complete redo back in 2022. So the 2023 model of the Infiniti QX60 is actually part of the second gen. So it's not a very old car as far as design goes. It is available in 4 trim levels: Pure, Luxe, Century, and Autograph. We had the Century model, and it came with the available optional all-wheel drive. So this is a mid-sized luxury SUV. It has 3 rows in it, and I'm not a big fan of, I'm just telling you, 3 rows and a mid-size. It's for children, absolutely. One of the great things they did for 2023, before we get into the details, is they've included the Infiniti Premium Care Package. Now, it's a 3-year inspection, oil change, tire rotation package that comes with this vehicle. All you got to do is go back to the dealer. It's just standard part of the package now of the Infiniti Customer Care. The outside of it, you're going to find out front, you're going to find that, it's got the rain sensing wipers, the power folding heated side mirrors, adaptive front lighting with leveling, got a power lift gate on it, and it's even got rear door window sunshades. Now, that may not sound, like a big deal, but, if you're sitting out there in the Texas heat going down Interstate 10 and it's coming in that window, that would be something nice to have. Roof rails, panoramic sunroof, rolling on some nice 20-inch aluminum alloy wheels as part of that Century package. Now, you go to the inside of it. Of course, you got leather seating. The front row seats are heated. They're ventilated, and they have massaging. Great feature that I think more people should really look at. The second row is also got heated seating on the outboard seat, and the third row has the power folding seat backs on it. Now, there's plenty of wireless charging. This is a wireless charging system, and it's got a lot of USB ports around it so that everybody's got access to USB ports in this thing. And there's also a Bose audio system that has 17 speakers. Now, front
Speakers.
Speakers.
Because 16 isn't enough. You got to have 17.
That's right. They
Wonder
could
where
have
that
found one more
oddball
spot. We
one
could have
is.
put
Where's
that one
wonder where
more.
that one oddball
In the
seat
heated
is.
seat.
It's right in the
Probably
middle
a
of the
base,
dash up
yeah.
front.
in the massaging seat
Yes,
in a special place.
with the mood lighting thing going on in the massaging seats. It's a great
Lava lamp.
place to be. 12.3-inch monitor in the center stack for all your convenience controls to control all this stuff. The driver has a display that's also 12.3, so it's got a lot of information and stuff that's available in it.
Have you ever heard from any of the manufacturers that we make fun of that are in your?
I don't check my email for a couple of weeks after this. The up front to move all this, because you've got to be able to move it all. It's a 3.5 liter V6 engine, 295 horsepower, 270 pound-feet of torque, and it has a 9-speed automatic transmission behind it, so that the EPA says you should be looking for 20 miles per gallon in the city, about 25 on the highway, 22 combined. Now, over the 292.7 miles that I drove this vehicle, I got 20.4 miles to the gallon.
Wow.
And I was very happy with that aspect of it. Of course, a lot of it's highway miles, but it it was nice because it has a really nice power band on it. So if you want to merge out on the highway, change lanes, it's got plenty of juice for that. If you're in town and you want to be silly, you got plenty of time for that. The only thing is, like, ride and drive. I liked driving it. It was easy drive, but it had a harshness to it at some point. Like the seams in a highway, sometimes it hits those and it's like it's a very harsh little bump. It's not nerve-wracking, but it's out of ordinary for that vehicle. And I'm not sure why. It just happens sometimes, like tires are overinflated or something.
Could be.
So the base model price for a QX60 is $50,525. It's up $2,500 from last year. But the base trim price for this vehicle is $60,600. Now, as tested, you're looking at $64,785.
That's not bad.
But if you go in and look at some of the competitors that are in it, looking at the base models again, the Acura MDX starts at $49,500. The Audi Q7 starts at $59,200. Volvo XC90 starts at $56,000. And so it's kind of in that range comparably as far as a luxury three-row type SUV goes. But I really believe, and I can't take credit for this. I saw somebody else use this term, but it's like those mid-size SUVs are becoming more like station wagons as far as design and shape and functionality.
Yeah.
And if you step back and look at this vehicle, I would have to agree to it.
I
Very
like
good.
wagons.
Thank you, sir.
So
Nice
at
vehicle.
some point, they're going to take that third row and face it backwards, so you
That
can
would be cool.
watch what's coming
Probably
at
have
you.
more room.
That'd be cool.
All right. I want to remind everybody that next Saturday, be sure and look for us at the Houston Automotive Show at NRG at a special time, 10 to 1. Be sure and stop by and say hello. In-Wheel Time Car Talk Show is available 24/7 through the iHeartRadio app. Look for the In-Wheel Time Car Talk Show. We also video stream on Facebook, YouTube, and InWheelTime.com. 30-minute podcasts at your fingertips on over a dozen of the most popular podcast outlets out there. The In-Wheel Time Car Talk Show continues right after this quick break.
Some things just belong together. Chips and queso, beer and barbecue, and the Auto Show and Boat Show. January 25th to 29th at NRG Center. One ticket, two great shows. Climb Jeep Mountain, board your dream boat, get the kids hooked on fishing at the Trout Pond, and join Evolve on an EV test drive, including the Ford Lightning. See all the latest models at the Houston Automotive Show. January 25th to 29th. Beat the line and buy online at automotiveshow.com.
Your friends and hosts of the quarterly Tailpipes and Tacos Cruise In at the Lupi Tortilla in Katy want to thank you for your participation in last year's events and look forward to more in 2023. You'll hear about them all right here and online soon. Next time you're in the West Houston Energy Corridor area, be sure and stop in at the original Lupi Tortilla Tex-Mex near I-10 and Highway 6 or at the Katy location on the Grand Parkway at Kingsland Boulevard. In Beaumont or College Station, you'll want to stop in and have Lupi's award-winning beef fajitas and frozen margaritas. There's always a celebration at Lupi Tortilla. Lupi founder Stan Holt and his wife Sheila are car people through and through. Both are winning racers on the NHRA drag racing circuit and have a collection of hot rods and classics that everyone appreciates. You'll see them at the next Tailpipes and Tacos Cruise In the spring at the Lupi Tortilla Tex-Mex on 99, the Grand Parkway, and Kingsland Boulevard, just south of I-10 and Katy. We'll give you all the details soon right here on the In-Wheel Time Car Talk Show and online. From Studio A in Houston, Texas, welcome to the In-Wheel Time Car Talk Show. Coming up this half hour, I got some great things, little tidbits that I'm going to share with you.
All right.
Conrad has the events calendar, and later we're going to look at the stories making automotive news headlines this week. Howdy, along with Mike Out of This World, Mars, King Conrad DeLong. We need more Jeff Zekin. I'm Don Armstrong. Glad you could join us on this Saturday. It's kind of a yucky day outside, cold. Cloudy. It's supposed to rain a little bit later on. Anyway, I did want to mention this. This came up on Automotive News this morning. Polestar's newest outlet is made entirely out of snow.
What?
Yeah, they've opened up a snow room in Finland. That's not a typo either. The electric vehicle maker's newest retail location is built entirely out of snow. More than 105,000 cubic feet of it harvested from a nearby ski resort. The skiers aren't happy, but they are. The cube-shaped building was constructed over just 20 days in Rovaniemi, which lies in the Arctic Circle. Polestar Snow Space, as they call it, is open until late February for consumers to book Arctic test drives of the Polestar 2 EV. At that point, Polestar will demolish the structure and return the snow to the ski slopes.
No, it's just going to melt.
Well,
Where do they plug it in?
What color is it? Is it yellow?
you know, I don't. Let me look a little bit further because I only. Well, there they are. This is a story about them actually building it, which is basically big, humongous ice cubes. But it is in Finland, in the Arctic Circle, so I guess it's cold up there most of the time.
I wonder if it's heated.
You know, I can't imagine.
Doubtful.
Yeah. Anyway, Hemmings. You know, I love to look at the marketplace.
You sent me a couple of this week.
Yes, I have,
Yeah.
haven't I?
Yep.
So here's one. Now, these are cars that sold through Hemmings Marketplace, and you can go online and look them up, Hemmings.com, and look under auctions. Anyway, a 1986 Chevrolet Corvette. Looks like it's a convertible. I don't have any of the details, but the selling price was $10,000
For an 86?
for an 86. Here's one. A pretty good-looking 1996 Chevrolet Tahoe, the two-door old Tahoe, sold for $6,400. Now, I don't know what it looks like underneath it.
Right.
You know, rust holes everywhere. I don't
frame,
know all of
yeah.
that stuff. But I just thought these were. And here's one for you. A 1988 Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme. You want to guess how much it sold for?
$9,000.
$9,500.
Ooh.
You win. You're
Ding,
on the
ding,
Price
ding.
is Right. Let's see what else we got here. Here's one. Speaking of Fords, we had the Ford guy on a minute ago. 1956 Ford Fairlane, done in a two-toned green, sold for $14,910. Pretty good-looking
wow.
car. Big, wide white walls on it. A 1972 Buick Grand Sport convertible. Want to guess?
Ooh,
35.
21.
$94,500.
Well, at least we didn't go over.
You didn't
Well,
go
did
over.
you see some of the prices at Kissimmee,
Yeah.
Mecum Kissimmee? $1 million for a GTO Judge convertible, a 70 model.
Oh, that yellow one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did see that.
That's just crazy.
It was ridiculous money.
It is. I'm sorry. That's too. How long is he going to have to hold on to that to get his money back?
Till the next auction.
Forever. 1927 Ford Model T. All restored, good looking, wood wheels, the whole 9 yards. How much do you think something like that would be worth?
But you could
$4,000.
look it up.
$21,000.
You could
But
look
I
it
think that's a bargain.
You could look it up on the Ford Archive site. I bet you.
Probably so.
Yeah,
I don't know.
probably a picture
I
of
don't
that.
think that the color would be right though.
Oh.
That's some sort of an.
Weren't they all black?
They were. Yeah.
You can get any color as long as it's black.
As long as it's black. And how about, to end this, the 1975 Volkswagen Samba? It's like that one of those 13-window VW buses.
Mm-hmm.
1975,
32.
$89,250.
And it's
Yeah.
a samba?
Called a Samba.
I only salsa. I
You
don't
know,
samba.
you know Samba? Just salsa. Jeff, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
That's if it's not too hot.
Let's look at the events calendar, shall we? Now, the events calendar, obviously, we lead off with the fact that coming up on Tuesday night is the big dance,
The gala.
the gala at the Houston Automotive
Is
Show.
it gala
at
or
NRG.
gala? Gala?
Gala.
Is it gala?
Gala, yeah.
Depends on where you live.
It's true.
But
And how much
at
the
any
tickets
rate,
are.
and then the next day is the opening.
Opening.
Of the car show. And that's for 5 days.
So this morning, Coles Crossing, Coffee and Cars. I have a couple of friends.
Now, wait a minute.
out
This
there.
is cruise in. So we that's a separate thing. This is the events calendar. That's why I started it off.
March 28th is the Spindletop Car Show at Church on the Rock, and I think we'll have a little bit more. We're going to interview, I guess, the
John Carnahan, the president
John.
of Spindletop.
president of the Spindletop Car Club. April 2nd at 6:30 to 10:30 a.m. The Woodlands Cars and Coffee for a Cause, and I mentioned that because Randy Weldon is a huge fan of that, and they
We
do
haven't talked to Randy in a while.
Yeah, I thought that too, yeah.
fundraising for local charities in the Woodlands and Montgomery County. April 2nd, starting at 12 p.m. through April 15th at 6 p.m. is the Texas Pony Party. Maybe Monty, the singing donkey, can go.
I'm going to pony up.
There you go.
And that's at the Confederate Air Force Central Texas Wing.
I don't think they call it the Confederate. I think they call it the Commemorative Air
Yeah.
No,
Force.
I'm sorry. It does say commemorative. I read Confederate.
Yeah, it's so
Commemorative.
easy to mix those two words up.
Commemorative Air Force Central Wing.
Yeah.
April 14th is the Lone Star 40 Convention. Lone Star, been a great ride. It'll be hosted by the Central Texas Classic Chevy Club. And that's going to be at the Embassy Suites in San Marcos. June 24th is the Lone Star Drift at round 3 at the Houston Police Academy. I wonder if,
Have you ever been drifting?
well, I mean, I grew up in New York, and you know,
Not that kind. Not in the snow. Not drifting like
Or drifting
that.
in and
On
out of
ice.
consciousness. You can't do that. That's
I've never been to a professional drifting show, because that's a little bit more of a
Smoke show.
more of a artsy competition than it is a timed speed
Correct.
show.
Yeah, yeah.
and I think we're a little older than what.
I'd
is
like
the
to sit in
actual-
the car while the guy drives it. I'm not competent to do it. I don't know.
You'd scream like a 7-year-old.
That's what
He
I'm
does
looking
that
forward
going
to.
dinner.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So, at any rate,
I wonder if Tomlin will be involved in that. That'll be at the Houston Police Academy. And then September 29th is Good Guys 30th Summit Racing Lone Star Nationals at Texas Motor Speedway.
did you happen to mention the Hot Rod Tour of Texas?
Hot Rod Tour of Texas, which was announced last week here on the show. They have officially now sold out of car passes.
Didn't take long.
300 cars.
300 cars.
Didn't take long.
And what is that, the 24th
The 27th, I think, of April.
of April?
It's coming up. It's going to be a great event, and I'm looking forward to the route map and also the overnight stops. I have a pretty good idea where they're going to be, but they're still working on
Because you have
hotel
the
arrangements.
inside connection.
Well,
Well, I think they've already said that the towns the overnight stops are going to be in.
But the events in the towns. And Mike is planning a remote. Was it New Braunfels?
Still working on the details.
Still working on details? Okay. And
Gotta-
Bobby Sparkman has been keeping everybody up to date on how many are left. And as Conrad said, they're done. They're booked.
And also, you know, one of the big events today is George Skelton's birthday.
Yes.
Yay,
Yay,
George.
George.
Happy
Happy birthday,
birthday,
George.
George. George is probably one of our biggest fans.
And we're going to get him a free taco.
Are we?
We're gonna get-
Taco Award.
We got a
Yeah.
taco. Award
Watch
back
your
here.
mailbox, George. It's on the way.
Yeah. Contact Jeff.
It's gonna be a
at
little cold.
InWheelTime.com.
And the cheese is going to be dripping it, but it'll be fine.
It will be.
Well, let's send it to him in August. That way it'll be warm.
Well, but George, I think, connected us to a couple of very good stories. One of the best shows I think we did was the Betty Skelton show,
I agree with you.
which
yes.
was his
Memorable.
aunt
Yes.
who had a Corvette connection, but she was also a
Land speed record holder.
land speed record holder. She drove one of the Art Arfon's cars, and she was also an
Is she a pilot also?
Yeah.
aerialist
yes.
for pilots. She was in a number of, as a plane pilot in a number of Chevrolet commercials. And she worked for Chevrolet's advertising agency for a number of years. And they have a section about Betty at the National Corvette Museum. Well, a section about women at the National Corvette
And she's
Museum.
featured in that.
And she's
Yeah.
very
Prominent.
prominently featured in
Yeah.
that.
Very cool. Happy birthday, George.
Yeah, exactly.
So what is this, George? 76, 77? You're the same age as Don, right?
I'm not
Is
quite
that the-
there. I'm not quite there yet.
he born
Thank
in-
you.
Was he born in 1877 or? Was it...
No, he said he said he wasn't Don.
What?
Said he wasn't you, so he couldn't have been born in 1877.
Oh. I'm
You
sure
know
he'll
what?
be giving us some feedback.
You know that I have control over the microphones over here.
He's been a little feisty down there on the end.
He has. Yeah, well, yeah. What did you wake up and have some burnt post toasties or something?
No, I've been dropping those quarters in.
Oh God.
He's been eating
And they're-
apple
and the
apple
quarters-
donuts.
And the quarters are cold.
yeah, I had
Apple donuts.
an apple filled thing there that's really good.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
So
This
those are the events coming up.
very good.
We've got Avalon Diner coming up with coffee and chroma Chrome and Coffee?
Chrome and Coffee. Mhm.
That's coming up in a couple weeks, isn't it?
It is on the
Yeah.
first. That's the first
Sunday
of the month.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
down at the
that'll-
Avalon Diner
Mhm.
in the in
two,
the fountains.
2 weeks from now.
Yeah, in the fountains. I actually called Craig and I hadn't heard from him in a couple of weeks. I said, "Are you mad at me?" So he goes, "No, why?"
Because no, I don't even think of you.
Pretty much.
Who is this? I thought I'd be blocked.
Yeah. Well, he was sick, the Chrome and Coffee before, and I was there. And this time, it just so happened that Chrome and Coffee fell on
New Year's-
January 1st, New Year's Day.
Yeah.
And not that I wasn't in any condition to go, but quite frankly, I forgot about it.
Yeah. Well,
Forget about it.
forget about it. It's the first day of the new year, and people have other plans besides doing that. So.
Well, and what, not only that, but I had taken, I think, a Friday and a Monday off. So it
And-
was messed up.
And you were busy working with Susie as she was listening to all the fireworks go off.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah.
Actually, she didn't go too crazy with the fireworks. It's the thunderstorms, which are due in here this afternoon.
Well, she was at our house. You brought her over to our house for New Year's. Was it New
That's-
Year's? Yeah.
I think it was New
Yeah,
Year's
New
Eve,
Year's,
wasn't
yeah.
it? Yeah.
And speaking of Chrome and Coffee, Cam, one of the guitar players I play with, actually knows Craig Bierman.
I did.
Yeah.
Huh.
Actually knows.
So
him. You
does
know
he have
Cam.
does he have a Chrome?
Yes, I do.
A Chrome guitar?
No, he actually works and builds race cars. So he's had a lot of product sent over to Craig's for chroming. And it just happened to be a conversation.
Not only the best Chrome in Houston, the best Chrome in the country.
right,
Pretty much, yeah.
and
'Cause
a
he's
good
done some
turnaround.
Riddler's cars, if
Oh,
I
yeah.
remember correctly.
Yes, that's right.
But just a conversation, one thing led to another. Pretty soon, well, yeah, I know that guy. Yeah, I know that guy.
Well,
too.
he always manages to get me in trouble at the Autorama every year.
Yeah.
This year he didn't because I was sick.
Doesn't take much.
No, it
I
doesn't.
think it's all self-inflicted. He just lets you do it.
yeah, he's-
pretty much.
He just stands over
Lets
there
the
and
rope
says,
out.
"Watch this."
or I'm in another world, and all of a sudden I kind of come to halfway, and I'm sitting there in the In Will Time booth, and I look up, and he is turning red and crying in tears, laughing at me.
Laughing so hard.
I think
Won't
that's
do
why
that
we're
again.
always right there close so that he can watch us while
Yeah.
he's doing.
It's Steve Green that does this. He puts us right across the hall from
Thank you, Steve.
yeah
Appreciate it.
yeah we
Works
yeah
out well.
huh. Well, it works out well for everybody except me.
Eh.
Gives the rest of us something to laugh at.
Yeah.
Entertainment value.
Well, there is some entertainment value in that. All right.
Stand by for next year's.
Yeah. If we all make it that
Mm-hmm.
far. Why don't we do This Week in Auto History? I have that written down
Okay,
here.
let me pull that rascal up.
Okay. I always love auto history.
Okay.
This Week in Auto History. And one of the things that I was taught in my early days of radio, which was back in the steamroller days, is that we don't go back. We don't talk about history. We don't have this day in history. Well, guess what? To all those unemployed consultants that came up with that,
Naysayers.
thank you. So we're going to do it anyway here on the In Will Time Car Talk Show for This Week in Auto History.
In 1905, Arthur McDonald of Great Britain set a land speed record on Daytona Beach, Florida, of 149.87
In that thing?
in that thing.
Good Lord, that's scary.
Can you imagine?
It
No.
sort of
No.
looks like it's a steam with the pipes or tubes or something.
Yeah.
Was it steam?
And went 149 miles an hour.
Sitting outside,
No helmet, no
Open
roll
cab.
cage.
Yeah. I
no
mean, just
seat
wind
belt,
in
no
your face.
nothing. Yeah.
Did have a cool hat though. I like the hat.
In 1924, Kingsford, Michigan, the Ford Motor Company's planned community was incorporated as a village. The company Ford owned large tracts of timber in the area,
Mhm.
which were used to produce wooden auto body panels like those commonly seen on station wagons in later decades.
Is that where the Kingsford Charcoal Company is?
I don't know. I'm assuming so because the Kingsford name.
That I don't know, but that's a good question. I don't know.
But it's amazing how smart Henry was to not only build cars the way he did, which was the first moving assembly line, but to own all of the componentry
forest. Yeah.
coming to it, because he had a rubber plantation.
Fordlandia down in South America.
So
Yep.
And reutilize the everything.
Exactly. When they built Willow Run, they used the scrap materials to heat the building.
Okay.
Willow Run.
In 1948, we just heard about this on the first interview we had. In 1948, Ford cars and trucks shared the same styling cues, and all Ford was introduced the F1, the start of the F-Series trucks in Ford. And in 1948, they had badged an F1 through an F8 in order of ascending capabilities. Like today, it's the F-150, 250, 350, 450, 550. Back then, they had the F1 through the F8.
They don't make a 850, do they? Today?
That they do.
I
I
don't-
think they do.
650.
I think 650 is the biggest.
Yeah, I think so.
Still like it.
And shout out a happy birthday to Janis Joplin from over there in
Wait a minute, she's dead.
She's been dead a while.
She lives on the internet, so everybody still does birthdays to people on the internet that are
Yeah,
gone,
and they
dead.
actually
David Crosby's dead too.
And I was just about to say they actually
It's on his
Crosby
birthday.
So
and
is Jeff
Janis
Beck.
were they got together playing guitar and writing music together. One of the first couple of songs that Crosby was involved with was with Janis, and Crosby
probably
was
doing a little heroin together too.
The reason they don't remember it.
Crosby was inducted in the Hall of Fame twice, once for the Byrds and then once for Crosby, Stills, Nash. Yeah.
And
And
she
Graham
was-
Nash was actually deaf in 1 ear for about 40%, 60%. He was deaf.
And Janis Joplin was born in 1943, the same year you, Don.
Yeah, actually, I was born in 23.
Okay,
That's the way I feel
1823.
today.
but that was in Port Arthur, Texas.
No, that would be Mars.
In 1954, General Motors introduced the Firebird XP21 show car, the world's first gas turbine power car.
That's
powered
very
car.
cool.
Yeah, it is.
And actually, that is still at the GM Heritage Museum.
Is it?
It was
Bubble
named.
top.
It was named in as an imitation of the U.S. military's experimental jet-powered aircraft.
It looks like one of those bomb cars that they used to make. Those
Yep.
that had
Tanks.
Like run
Yeah.
at Bonneville,
Yeah, the tanks.
Bonneville and
Yeah.
The belly tank cars.
Belly tank.
yeah.
And you know, a lot of people think the first turbine car shown by an auto manufacturer was the Chrysler turbine, and they did sell a small number of those Chrysler turbines. GM never.
I didn't
sold
think
the
they
turbine.
sold them. Didn't they kind of lease them or something? Because
They were out there in the market. I want to say 50 or 60 of them, but I think Chrysler went back out and got them all.
Yeah.
Because they had a tendency to kind of warm up the car behind them.
That's what I was thinking. You talk about tailgate, getting rid of a tailgate.
you know, I actually saw one run, and it was at the Chrysler Proving Grounds, and I will tell you that underneath the back end of that car, it was hot.
They're loud too.
Everybody's there making
No, it wasn't
s'mores.
loud.
Was it loud?
It
No,
was
it
not
wasn't
loud. I don't know how they muffled the sound of it, but they did.
Well, helicopters aren't loud except the noise that the prop makes.
Right. To the
Well,
wind,
I
to
don't
the
know
air.
about that. You stand next to a jet engine, I can promise you it's loud.
Okay. Well, I don't get that privilege.
Well, it's not a privilege, but it's loud.
Curse.
In 1955, the Cadillac Park Avenue show car was displayed at the New York Motorama in Manhattan's Waldorf Astoria
That's
Hotel.
gorgeous. That is gorgeous.
And the Park Avenue was
What year was that?
1955.
Wow.
The Park Avenue led as the prototype for the Eldorado Brougham.
Broham.
Broham.
The Broham.
The
Okay,
Brougham.
Broham.
And it was in the time it was the most costly car.
And what about the
Cadillac.
dues and a quarter?
That's a 225.
But those were Buick used the Park Avenue name. Cadillac started a number of names. Cadillac actually had an El Camino. wasn't a car truck thing, but that was the name of their
Branding of it, yeah.
the name of their show car.
We're just going to take a minute and absorb this photo for some time here.
prosperity.
Okay.
Jeff, our cattle lunatic.
Cattle.
In 1971, Jaguar's XJ13 prototype was displayed in England by British Leland.
Not a big Jag fan.
No,
Never have been.
I thought they made some stunningly beautiful cars.
Well, the XKE
Design.
when it first came out was,
Yeah.
but now it looks odd.
I like that one.
And this car was destined to become the next luxury Jaguar. The bad luck is that the prototype was wrecked in its first test run, so
Oh,
the
boy.
quality of the cars was left to be.
Was it in the media fleet?
Driven by test driver Norman Dewis.
Dewis.
Dewis, Dewis, ending the XJ13 development program. He ruined the car, and it was kept by Jaguar and rebuilt.
That's too bad.
So that is this week in automotive history.
Well, I want more
Carol Shelby's birthday was this week.
Yep.
Let's see who else. AJ Foyt's birthday is this
Oh,
week.
I did
It
not know
was this
that.
past week. Yeah.
Right.
He's
Happy
88.
birthday, AJ.
Yeah,
88.
Happy
yeah Mars,
birthday,
you need to
dude.
get AJ on the show.
Do that.
And Elon, too.
You know, he probably is listening.
Mhm.
Not.
Well,
He's up in Hockley.
Hockley
He's
or
not far
Waller.
away.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, he's not that far away. Although that's a haul for me, not for you.
No.
But
And I had met him. He used to eat lunch at Cattleman's in Waller, and I had met him at Cattleman's a couple of times.
it's in. As a matter of fact, I have an interesting story. I was doing some work for Mitsubishi Forklift. They've got a factory over there on the Beltway, and they had done a trade with AJ. We'll give you a forklift, and those things are expensive. by
Oh
the way.
yeah.
We'll give you a forklift if you will come and have a personal appearance at our. It was a luncheon that they were debuting some
Forklift.
whiz bang forklift, and so I had a chance to not only interview
Whiz
him.
Bang, is that another brand name? The Whiz
Probably.
Bang?
So I had a chance to interview him on stage in front of the crowd of people that was there, and I also had the opportunity to have lunch with him. And walking over to the lunch from the stage, had a very nice walking conversation with him. And it's hard for him to walk because of all the accidents and leg injuries that he's had. But I was pleasantly surprised because, you know, AJ Foyt had this reputation of violent temper.
Of being a hard ass.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
Very much so. And he was not that way toward me at all, and I didn't pick up on any of that. He is a very, very passionate man. And needless to say, you can imagine what he experienced in his racing career starting back in the late 1940s and up to, well, I guess is he still running a race car
I
at
think
Indy?
he's still a team owner.
He's,
isn't he?
he's a team owner for an Indy car. I think like 3 Indy cars.
Well, he's a very passionate man, especially when it comes to racing.
You got to think he's one of the very few drivers who has won the Indy 500,
Yep.
the Daytona 500, and the 24 Hours Le Mans.
Truly an amazing individual. And to think that here is a race car driver that has lived to be 88 years old
Yeah.
is truly remarkable.
And has had some horrific accidents.
I
through
will
his
never
time.
forget the IndyCar wreck that he had, and it was up north on a road course somewhere, and he went off the course and plowed it into a berm.
Was that Watkins Glen?
I think it might have been
Yeah,
Watkins
he had
Glen.
a horrible accident at Watkins Glen.
Yeah, well, it broke both of his legs and
Yeah.
his feet, and it was just a horrible thing. And he didn't quit after that race, but it was a while, and he managed to, I guess, race another couple of races. He says, I just can't quite do what I used to do. He had to have help to get into the car. I just, you got to look at a guy like that and you go, wow, now there's some passion,
And his stamina
Yep.
for the career.
right?
Yeah.
How about the story of when he got stung by a million bees up
Yeah,
there
that
in
was on
his
his
farm?
ranch
He
or
almost
farm, yeah.
died
Yeah.
from that.
Didn't that happen
Oh,
twice?
up in
Was it once
Waller?
or twice?
In Waller?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Remember that.
Yeah, that was a few years back, and he was good friends with Bob Allen. He used to be the sports director at Channel 13 before he passed, and he had a great relationship with Bob, and Bob could call him on the phone and get whatever interviews that he wanted. Maybe one of these days before I die, I'll be able to do that as well. Hey, AJ, how you doing?
You can call me anytime, Don.
Thank you, and I do, even when you're in California at 5 o'clock in the morning. Sorry about that.
It's okay.
But you were supposed to be back, I think. All right, it's time to move on. Quick break now. We'll be right back. You're on the In Wheel Time Car Talk Show on iHeartRadio. It would help if I turned it on.
Some things just belong together. Chips and queso, beer and barbecue, and the auto show and boat show. January 25th to 29th at NRG Center. One ticket, two great shows. Climb Jeep Mountain, forge your dream boat. Get the kids hooked on fishing at the trout pond. And join Evolve on an EV test drive, including the Ford Lightning. See all the latest models at the Houston Automotive Show. January 25th to 29th. Beat the line and buy online at automotiveshow.com.
Your friends and hosts of the quarterly Tailpipes and Tacos Cruise In at the Lupi Tortilla in Katy want to thank you for your participation in last year's events and look forward to more in 2023. You'll hear about them all right here and online soon. Next time you're in the West Houston Energy Corridor area, be sure to stop in at the original Lupi Tortilla Tex-Mex near I-10 and Highway 6 or at the Katy location on the Grand Parkway at Kingsland Boulevard. In Beaumont or College Station, you'll want to stop in and have Lupi's award-winning beef fajitas and frozen margaritas. There's always a celebration at Lupi Tortilla. Lupi founder Stan Holt and his wife Sheila are car people through and through. Both are winning racers on the NHRA drag racing circuit and have a collection of hot rods and classics that everyone appreciates. You'll see them at the next Tailpipes and Tacos Cruise In the spring at the Lupi Tortilla Tex-Mex on 99, the Grand Parkway, and Kingsland Boulevard, just south of I-10 and Katy. We'll give you all the details soon right here on the In Wheel Time Car Talk Show and online. The award-winning In Wheel Time Car Talk Show is available on the most popular podcast channels out there in 30-minute episodes. We realize our 3-hour live show can be difficult to catch in its entirety, so now you can listen every day to a convenient, fresh 30-minute episode. Check us out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, and Audible, along with a dozen more. In Wheel Time has the most informative automotive guest interviews and new car reviews, along with popular features including Conrad's Car Clinic and This Week in Auto History, along with automotive news headlines. Our live broadcast airs every Saturday, 8 to 11 Central on InWheelTime.com, the iHeart app, and on YouTube. Be sure to say hello when we're broadcasting from the Tailpipes and Tacos Cruise In, Autorama, and the Houston Auto Show, among others. Now, it's easier than ever to hear about all things automotive all week long. You're invited to join fellow car enthusiasts in becoming part of the ever-growing In Wheel Time Car Talk family. Don't forget those 30-minute podcast episodes on your favorite podcast channel. Welcome to the In Wheel Time Car Talk Show. Just ahead, we talk with Leah Cast and others about the Houston Automotive Show.
All right.
I got a chance to drive the Ram Rebel 2500. It's a beast, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm going to give you my thoughts on it. We'll also have the cruise-in calendar, and later, author of Driven to Crime, Wrongdoing in the Racing Industry.
Uh-oh.
Conrad will have This Week in Auto History. We already had that.
We already had that.
Along with stories making automotive news headlines this week. Just ahead on the In Wheel Time Car Talk Show. Howdy, along with Mike Out of This World Mars, King Conrad DeLong. We need more Jeff Zekin. I'm Don Armstrong. Glad you could join us today. Thanks so much. It's kind of a cloudy day. It's a good day to start thinking about
Spring.
car shows and new car shows. Somebody asked me the other day, they said, hey, man, so what's the deal with the car show? Am I going to find, my 69 Camaro? Maybe outside, but this is a new car. Oh, the new car show. Yeah. And have you heard that they've coupled it up with the boat show, which I think is a brilliant idea.
Well, that's because we suggested that to Rochelle
It's
years
our,
ago.
Yeah,
That's our idea.
It's our idea, and they
Yeah.
just went with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, how does that work for everybody else?
Well,
that we've
for us,
talked
not
to?
too well.
Yeah, I know. So joining us now, Leah Cast with the Houston Boat Show part of it, and Mike Provost with the RV part of it. Hi, guys. It's good to have you with us, and thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, well, great. Leah, why don't we start with you? Mike, would start with you, but I would rather start with Leah, and I hope that you
Ladies
understand
first.
ladies first. Yeah. I was raised good.
Gooder.
Gooder. Leah Cast, Houston Automotive Show. Leah, I'm excited. I know that, I guess we started this last year. Is that correct?
Yes, last year was the first year. I remember sitting down with you guys. We had a great conversation.
We did, yeah. Well, and you remember because it was so odd. What an odd bunch of boys to talk about boats. But I understand that this year is bigger and better than ever.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're really excited for this year. Last year we coupled with the auto show mainly because it was a good fit, but also because of inventory issues and things that had occurred because of the pandemic. And so this year we're excited because there's a lot more inventory, a lot more options, a lot more boats for people to check out and even buy. And so I think there is a lot of excitement around people being able to see more and actually buy the boat that they want this year rather than whatever's left and available on the lots.
So in other words, it's kind of mirrors the automotive industry in a way, in the fact that the inventory was low last year, and now we're coming back.
Yeah, absolutely. That was one of the reasons last year that we did it. We were both kind of in the same boat,
so to speak. Yeah.
Right. And so it made a lot of sense. And so, a lot of the suppliers are the same type of suppliers for boats and for auto. And so, this year inventory is back up, manufacturing's on track, and there's a lot more excitement. And, boating has become very popular during the pandemic. People had more time out on the water, more time, just to be outdoors. And so we're excited to be able to meet a little bit more of the demand in the market, particularly in Texas.
Now, on your side, because it's basically a 50-50 deal, 50% boats and RVs and 50% cars. With the boats, is it manufacturer-driven or is it dealer-driven?
It's really dealer-driven. So most of our vendors, if not all, most of them are dealers, although some of the brands are represented at the show. But yeah, so we have a lot of dealers, a lot of folks right around Houston and the surrounding areas, which is why it makes our side of the show a little bit different. Whereas the auto show, you're going to check them out, kind of window shop. At the boat show, it's a sale. So you're talking with the salesmen and the dealers, and you can leave with a boat. You can purchase what's on the floor.
Very cool.
Which is what makes it unique.
So in other words, get my car hooked up for a trailer hitch, and I'm good to go.
Well, you're on the car side, the truck side, you can buy the truck and then just drive it over, pick up the boat. And I got a good friend of mine, Bruce West, is actually looking for a pontoon boat. He said he will be there looking for a pontoon boat.
You guys have any pontoon boats in this year's show?
Yeah, absolutely. We have pontoons every year. Pretty much every brand you can think of that's represented. Last year, I think we talked to Sea-Doo, actually, who's known for their personal watercraft. They unveiled a brand new pontoon, which was new for them in the market, and it's actually really cool. And comes in at kind of an entry-level price for pontoons. And so there's new and innovative products like that, as well as staples that you would expect to see anywhere on the boat show floor.
And I'm sure you'll see them there. And I personally am looking for a submarine.
A yellow one.
Yeah.
A yellow submarine. Uh-huh. Well, Jeff's been known to get some off-brand cigarettes back in the day, and I think that his mind is kind of going to go that way. Mike Provost, he's the RV side of this. Mike, it's good to see you, and thanks for joining us. And we hope you understand that we had to put you second.
That's okay. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah. So, Mike, RVs, I guess, the RV market, I think, is hot, hotter than it's ever been. There's a small dealer on my way to work, and there for a while he had maybe one or two RVs. They were actual tow-behinds, and now his lot is full, and apparently he's moving them because I see different ones there all the time, and he's got a storage lot in the back, and it's full as well. So apparently inventory is up with the RVs.
So I think I might be on the physical RV side of the show, but I'm actually with an electric boat company called Xshore.
Oh, well, I wasn't told that. My booking agent down here, Mr. Mike Mars, just told me that you were doing RVs.
So tell us about it.
Yeah, so Xshore, it's a Swedish boat company. We sell high-performance electric boats. We're the world's first full-production electric boat company, and we're ecstatic to showcase our products at the Houston Boat Show.
Wow. Electric boats. How much does the boat weigh?
They vary. We have two different types. We have a 26-foot center console and a 21-foot cuddy cabin. But the 26-foot center console is 5,700 pounds.
Isn't that a lot for a boat?
No, it's right within the industry standard. It's actually a little bit lighter.
Really?
Wow.
What you don't call it, I guess, range. I guess you would call it how long can
What
it last
do you
on
call
the
it?
I don't know what you call it. How long does it last on the water?
Yeah, so just think about our boats like the Tesla of boats. So they're high performance. People typically associate electric boat with like a Duffy boat, which is a 5-knot boat. The X-Shore boats can go 30 knots. I can go 0 to 20 knots in 4 seconds. I've got 700 horsepower off the line, instant torque. So it's a different type of a driving experience that folks are used to. But to your question, the range, I mean, just like a gas boat, depends how you drive it, but at low speeds, 100 nautical miles. At higher speeds, maybe down to 15, 20
Oh
nautical
my
miles.
God, 100 nautical miles,
Low
dude.
speed.
That's huge. I know, but still.
Yeah.
So I mean, so you can ski behind this, basically.
Absolutely. Yeah, the torque on these boats is tremendous. It's very similar to driving a high-performance electric vehicle. There's no power band. So the minute you hit that throttle, the boat just jumps out of the water. So you can easily wakeboard behind it, wake surf, ski, tube, all those types of water sports are great.
Is it a jet boat or is it a prop?
It's a prop. Yeah, we have 5-blade prop coming off of a shaft.
So if you're tubing, say you're dragging a tube, you got a couple of people out there on the tube.
Well, why not? Wait a
Time-wise-
minute. You're kind of dating yourself there, aren't you? Because you're so old you can't get up on the skis anymore, or what?
No, I can't. Absolutely not.
So you're the guy that.
No, I was thinking about the amount of drag and weight and stuff back there.
Yeah.
A tube is going to be a lot greater than a set of skis or a slalom. So, and I'm trying to relate it time-wise back to the range
Yeah.
thing. So how long could I go out and drag this tube around?
Listen, if I was driving the boat, you wouldn't be on it very long.
So if it's helpful, I can give you guys a real-world example of how I've used the boat.
Okay,
Is that-
let's
is that
hear it.
helpful? So I had an Elex 8000. That's our 26-foot center console in Virginia Beach, which is where I live, for 3 months, and I took it underway 55 times. Okay, so I have 3 young kids and a wife, and we would stay out typically for about 4 to 6 hours.
Wow.
And that would include a mixture of, no wake zone, kind of slow speeds, pulling a tube, anchoring out, swimming, lunch, cocktail cruising, speeding around. And then when I would get back to the pier, I'd have about 30% battery.
Wow.
Just plug the boat right in there on shore power. And by the next morning, I'd have 100% battery.
So how did this concept, did you start it with a full-blown boat, or did you get started with maybe like try the electric motors in a jet ski and then work your way up to a larger vessel?
No, so the electric propulsion and batteries we use are commercially tested and tried products. The boat from the ground up has been designed to be electric, and that's been going on for decades. But we've launched the company in earnest in the United States in 2020.
Going on for decades, really?
Yeah. Yeah. Our founder is a gentleman named Conrad. He's a Swedish entrepreneur. This is his brainchild. He essentially invented the Beats headphones equivalent in Sweden, and he's been pursuing this since the early 2000s.
I'll be darned. Pretty interesting.
He's way ahead of the market.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking.
Well, he did say it's the Tesla of boating.
Mars?
Performance.
Sir?
I want to get you in that tube behind this electric
Now,
boat.
Mike lives on
I
the
may
coast.
still have a tube.
Mike
someplace.
has a home in Galveston, so this would be right up your alley for your grandkids. Absolutely. You need one.
Yeah, we could go out on Galveston Bay.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
So Sea Lake Yachts is our Texas dealer, and they'll be at the Houston Boat Show.
Mike
so
will be
Doug
there.
Hughes from Sea Lake Yachts is the man to talk to in Texas.
We'll send him over.
Yep,
you bet.
He's got a couple boats on site for sale, so he's a great resource.
So when,
I'd like to see it.
so when we introduced you, I built you up as the RV guy, but your display is in the RV section?
I'd have to defer to Lee on that one. Lee, can you speak to the location?
Yeah, I have no idea how the RV.
How did the RV thing come in there?
Pardon, say it again.
That had to be something I did. I'm not sure how that got there.
So
I'm not sure I want to go look and find out how I did that.
Jeff passed his cigarette to you.
I guess. You know how it is. Pass it down. Take one and pass it down.
Well, I wouldn't know, but apparently you do.
I don't know. I've just heard stories and watched movies.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry to have to put you guys through all of that. All right, let's go back to you, Leah.
Yeah, no
So,
problem.
I walk into, and I don't know now where the entrance is. Let's just say Hall C or something. And do I go left or right to see you?
Left.
Left.
So if you go in the middle of the show, the boats are on, or the cars are on the right, boats are on the left.
Gotcha. And let me ask you this: do you find that people that go to the car side of it always wander down to where you are?
For the most part.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, I thought, the first year we were kind of curious how it was going to turn out. I mean, I definitely think people are coming to see the cars, and the folks coming to see the boats are coming to see the boats. But there's kind of just this natural curiosity and wandering, particularly because of our location in Houston. We're 50 miles from the Gulf of Mexico. You said you live in Galveston, all the lakes and the bay and everything. And so I think there's just a natural curiosity to say, hey, I might be interested in a boat one day, or, I have a boat too. And so it really is a natural fit for a lot of people.
And they intermix, because unless you're just really on the water and staying on the water with your boat in the water, well, now you're going to need to tow that boat from one place to another. Or if you're a fisherman, you might want to go up to the lakes and different lakes across the state and stuff. So, they kind of mix and match pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they have that symbiotic relationship.
Now,
because-
let me ask you this. I understand for the first time in quite some time that the fishing pond
I was going to ask about
is back.
Oh.
And do I bring my own reel, and do I take the fish home if I catch it?
What about bait? Can we buy bait?
No, well, so they'll provide all of the bait, everything that you need, but you can take your fish home. So that's really cool.
And what kind of fish are they? They're not minnows or anything, are they?
No, so in the bass pond we have bass, and then I can't remember what's in the other
Catfish.
no.
Trout.
Bottom feeder.
Trout. A lot
Trout.
of times it's trout.
Trout.
Yes, that's right, trout. Yeah.
Yep.
So we have so many stories of folks who've been coming to the boat show for 40 years, however many years, and they literally learned to fish at the boat show in the kids fishing pond. And so it really is a cool and sentimental thing. And last year they didn't have it, and we definitely heard about it. So it's back, and everyone's really excited about it.
See, I would be afraid of catching a fish, taking it with me, and then forgetting what car I left it in.
In the parking lot.
And,
On the way home, yeah.
In the
it would
show.
remind
Oh,
you
in the
of
show.
show.
Yeah. In the
I was
show.
in that truck over there. I was in that car. What did I do with my fish?
Yeah.
Where is it?
Well, you'd find it sooner or later.
Somebody would.
Now, when you catch the fish and you're going to take it home, do you take it home in a clear plastic bag with some water in it, kind of like you do at the
No, you
Walmart
just
with the?
slip it in your pocket.
They got a fish cleaning table over on the side. They fillet it for you.
Mike, I know you want to laugh, and you can go ahead and join in. It's all right.
No, I was just trying to figure out where I'm going to be at the show, and I figured it out, and it's a good spot.
Is it? Is it next to the
Yeah.
fish tank?
No, it's actually next to the beer garden.
Even better.
Yeah, we'll see you
We're
then.
coming to see you, brother.
Yeah, that's
All
it.
right.
Do you have any drink tickets?
I think I will. Come take a look.
All right, we're definitely going to do that.
So-
Leah, I'm sorry, I just kind of went off the track there,
Mike's
didn't
going to
I?
buy a boat.
Right.
Well, I mean, that's just who we are. This is why we do this show, because it's a self-entertaining kind of show.
So I have a question for Mike that just popped in. So, I mean, the way you were describing your boats and stuff, they're kind of a pleasure craft, skiing and all that stuff.
That's right.
Are you into the fishing market? Like bass fishermen have kind of a style and.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the cool things about the X-Shore boats is they're modular. So you can put in different pieces based on what you want to do that day for boating. So we have a fishing module that you can put on the back, and it's got, your live well, rod holders, tackle box, all those things built into the module. And then if you don't want to fish a day, you can take that out and put a bench seat in for your family. So it's
Seriously.
really configurable to how you want to use it.
Have you ever owned a boat, Mike?
Several.
Conrad, have you owned a boat?
Nope.
Neither have I. Don, have you owned a boat?
I have owned a boat.
So we're 50-50 here.
But
never
I
owned a
just,
boat.
when he said module, and my mind immediately went to that's how you're going to order it from the factory. But literally, you just, what am I going to do this week? I'm going to take the wife and kids with me, so I'm going to put in the bench seat, the wraparound in the back, so I got room. and that's pretty cool.
Well, I have to tell you that, there's this thing on Facebook that called Reels, and
Yes.
people post these things on there. Well, I was watching one day, and all of a sudden, there's a guy that you don't see him. He kind of narrates the thing, and he's got a camera set up right there at the dock of some, I don't know, place where you put in boats.
Boat ramp, yeah.
And he does this play-by-play of people putting in boats at the boat ramp. And unsuccessfully most of the time. And it is absolutely hysterical and very entertaining. I find myself getting stuck on it for hours on end. And I'm thinking, look at that person messing this whole thing up. They drive it into other boats. They miss the trailer, the whole 9 yards. And I'm thinking, well, wait a minute. The reason that I enjoy it so much is because I was there.
Been there.
You did it.
Oh, my God.
I can't
Been
do
there,
that.
done that.
And driving a boat, being the captain of a boat, and you're at the wheel, it takes on a whole nother meaning coming from the automobile side and then going over to boats and trying to look professional at the boat ramp.
Wow.
Not the wrong button for me.
And pulling the boat is a skill as well.
Yeah, it is.
And backing it up and all that.
Yeah. Oh,
we
yeah.
used to go to the lakes quite a bit, and that's what we would go fishing early in the morning. When we would get through, we'd come back, we'd pull the boat out, and we would sit there at the boat ramp with a beverage
In a P-row.
and watch.
Totally entertaining. So I think that this is just a thought, Leah. So you need to have the boat show theater, and we could run that in there. Here's what not to do
There
at
you
the
go.
boat ramp. What do you think? I think it would be a hit, don't you?
It probably would. That's a good idea. We do have some folks from Texas Parks and Wildlife that will be doing some boater education.
That's a good thing.
Talking
Yeah.
about the proper way to do things, boater safety, emergency preparedness. So we could just go ahead and throw those reels right along with the boater education.
Oh
talk.
my God!
Even better, go out there where the ride and drives are and set up a boat ramp.
Exactly. I was
So the
thinking the
people-
same thing.
You could
Yeah.
take one of Mike's boats the next shore out there, and you could try and back it up.
And maybe you would have to spend any extra money. Just take the fishing pond out there and run the boat around there.
Yeah. There you go.
I'm in.
Are there
I'm in.
going to be folks that will sell like anchors and life vests and ropes and things? Are going to be those types of folks there as well?
Yes, yeah, there's hundreds of vendors. So everything from, like your GPS systems, all the technology you need for boats, accessories. Of course, we talked about the RVs. And so it really is, we call it the boat show, but it really is everything: boating, outdoor sports, recreation, water sport. So pretty much anything, if you already have a boat, but you're just looking for, some updated technology or mapping things, there's all those type of things there.
Wednesday through Sunday, the Houston Automotive Show, NRG Center. It's going to be a fun time to be had by all. Leah?
Wait, are they going to be at the gala on Tuesday?
Are you going to be at the gala Tuesday?
I am not, but Rochelle will be there. But I will be there Wednesday.
Mike, are you
onward.
coming down?
I'm pretty sure that Sea Lake Yachts will be there, and I'll join them for the event.
Okay, very good. Well, we'll look for you. Thank you both very much for joining us today. We truly appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. How fun.
I'm
I'm in.
I don't think
thrilled
they're coming
about
back.
The fishing pond. That's such a good idea.
All right. Let's see. You want to do the cruising calendar? You tried to do it last hour.
And you shut me down.
I did, because it was
Shut
the
her
events
down.
calendar, not the cruising
Come
calendar.
for your daughter, Chuck.
I just love the way he does that.
So
Well,
again,
you
this
did-
morning at Coles Crossing, Cars and Coffee
This
off of
morning.
Barker Cypress, right? And then also Coffee and Cars at the Hard Bean Coffee Shop at the Silos in Beaumont.
At the what? The Hard Bean.
The Hard Bean.
Okay.
At the silos.
Coffee and Cars at Redemption Square in Houston is this morning from 8 to 11 a.m. And then Fire 'em Up Classic Car Show at Rudy's Barbecue. And that's from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. this morning in Tomball. And that's the Rudy's off of 249 just south of Tomball. And then later on at the ranch in College Station. The ranch, I believe, is the Harley Davidson store in College Station. They're having a car show from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And that's on the Highway 6 frontage road. Also this afternoon, the show and shine at Bullfish in Round Bunch Road in Orange, Texas. Woodlands Wheels and Wine at Bordeaux Vino Wine Bar off of Research Boulevard in the Woodlands.
Get your buzz
cool.
on.
There you go.
Get your
I
buzz
like wine.
on.
Wine's good.
And that's 5 p.m. to 8 p.m., and that's an open cruise-in with no entry fee. And then also tonight from 5 to 8 p.m., Cypress West Houston Classic Car Meetup at the Twisty Treat off of Fry Road.
That's the one I'm going to.
Leslie and Kathy drink wine. I like wine.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
maybe that's where they're headed.
They need to go.
Hey, if you'd like to get in touch with us, shoot us an email. The address here is info@inwheeltime.com. Speaking of time now for this hour's car review. I had a chance to drive the 2023 Ram 2500. This is what they call a heavy-duty pickup truck. It's a 3/4 ton back in our day. That's what we used to call them. So on this Ram, they come in many trim levels. The Tradesman is the entry level, kind of like the work truck. Lone Star, the Rebel, the Power Wagon, the Laramie, the Limited Longhorn, and the Limited. Those are the trim levels available on this Rebel. It's all new for 2023 in the 20. Let me, if you don't mind, I'm just going to turn you guys off because it's disturbing. Anyway, 3/4 ton Big Boy. Seats 5. Exterior changes from last model year. It's all new in 2019. It's a few years old. They got it worked out, but the Rebel package is new for this year for 2023. Unique Ram Rebel grill, blacked out, tough looking. Air intake look front of the hood and air exhaust at the back of the hood. Get rid of all of that under hood heat because there is also a diesel available for this Rebel if you want to go that route. I didn't have that. I'll get to that in a minute. Black wheel opening extensions. They're small, but they look good, especially on a red truck. I had a gray one. It looked good there, too. Sharp-looking, blacked-out wheels. What I liked about it, the many different cabs and bed lengths. So there's regular, crew, and mega cabs, and there is also 2 bed lengths, 5 foot and 6 foot. If you want, you talk about, it looks almost like an 18-wheeler when you get that big long bed on there and a 4-door mega cab. I'm sorry, because we had too much noise there, and I couldn't handle all that.
And the Mega Cab's a great idea because it's a 4-door truck, but it's kind of like a 4-door extended cab.
It's got
So there's
6
a lot-
extra inches in it.
There's more storage behind the second row of seats.
Interior highlights. Optional 12.3 infotainment screen. Best looking dash of any truck out there, I think. Huge center console. Big enough to take a bath in.
Wow.
3 cup holders at the front of it. A changeable instrument cluster. In other words, you can move the instrument clusters around inside the pod there, however you want it set up. Comfortable leather seating front and rear. Cargo room, trunk room. Well, obviously not a trunk, but it did have a tonneau cover over it, so it kind of was. But as far as cargo in the cab, best under-seat configuration of any truck because you can lift those up, and they've got special little things that you can divide up and put your stuff in that rolls around. It's really cool. What I liked about it, that massive center console. This thing is huge. What could use improvement? You must get the optional side steps. This one that I drove didn't have it. You really need a ladder to get in it. I had to use the actual grab handle on the side to pull myself up into
Well,
it.
because it rides a little bit higher, and then you got taller tires, so it rides even higher.
It's big. 6.4-liter V8 gasoline engine, 410 horsepower, 429 pound-feet of torque. Now, when you get into the heavy-duty models, depending on what you're going to do, I would say, if you're going to get a heavy-duty, get a diesel. And this got the inline 6-cylinder Cummins diesel as an option. Tow rating, up to 37,000
With the diesel.
with the diesel. Payload, 7680. Miles per gallon, well, in these heavy-duty segments, they don't post that on the sticker, but I got 14.4 miles per gallon over 316.
With a 6.4 liter Hemi.
Yeah. Tons of power. What could use improvement? Obviously, better mileage. I don't know why they don't offer a hybrid. Maybe they're working on that. Diesel, as I mentioned, is available. Ride and handling, it's rough without a load. You need to be pulling something, or you need to have a big, heavy.
But it's a work truck.
It's a work truck. A heavy-duty work truck. What could use improvement? Nothing. It's all about capability. Base trim price, $68,840. Price has tested $80,065.
Wow.
It had a lot of options on it. Base model price, you can get into a heavy-duty for $49,000. Competitors, Ford F-250 Super Duty, $51,685. Chevrolet Silverado 2500 HD, $49,300. And the GMC Sierra 2500 HD is $48,200. And that is my review of the 2023 Ram 2500 heavy-duty Rebel version. Hey, the In Wheel Time Car Talk Show is available 24/7 through the iHeartRadio app. Just look for In Wheel Time Car Talk. We also video stream on Facebook, YouTube, and InWheelTime.com. Podcasts are available at your fingertips on over a dozen of the most popular podcast outlets out there. The In Wheel Time Car Talk Show continues right after this quick break.
Some things just belong together. Chips and queso, beer and barbecue, and the auto show and boat show. January 25th to 29th at NRG Center. One ticket, two great shows. Climb Jeep Mountain, board your dream boat, get the kids hooked on fishing at the trout pond, and join Evolve on an EV test drive, including the Ford Lightning. See all the latest models at the Houston Automotive Show, January 25th to 29th. Beat the line and buy online at automotiveshow.com.
Your friends and hosts of the quarterly Tailpipes and Tacos Cruise In at the Lupi Tortilla in Katy want to thank you for your participation in last year's events and look forward to more in 2023. You'll hear about them all right here and online soon. Next time you're in the West Houston Energy Corridor area, be sure to stop in at the original Lupi Tortilla Tex-Mex near I-10 and Highway 6 or at the Katy location on the Grand Parkway at Kingsland Boulevard. In Beaumont or College Station, you'll want to stop in and have Lupi's award-winning beef fajitas and frozen margaritas. There's always a celebration at Lupi Tortilla. Lupi founder Stan Holt and his wife Sheila are car people through and through. Both are winning racers on the NHRA drag racing circuit and have a collection of hot rods and classics that everyone appreciates. You'll see them at the next Tailpipes and Tacos Cruise In the spring at the Lupi Tortilla Tex-Mex on 99, the Grand Parkway, and Kingsland Boulevard, just south of I-10 and Katy. We'll give you all the details soon right here on the In Wheel Time Car Talk Show and online. The award-winning In Wheel Time Car Talk Show is available on the most popular podcast channels out there in 30-minute episodes. We realize our 3-hour live show can be difficult to catch in its entirety, so now you can listen every day to a convenient, fresh 30-minute episode. Check us out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, and Audible, along with a dozen more. In Wheel Time has the most informative automotive guest interviews and new car reviews, along with popular features including Conrad's Car Clinic and This Week in Auto History, along with automotive news headlines. Our live broadcast airs every Saturday, 8 to 11 Central on InWheelTime.com, the iHeart app, and on YouTube. Be sure to say hello when we're broadcasting from the Tailpipes and Tacos Cruise In, Autorama, and the Houston Auto Show, among others. Now, it's easier than ever to hear about all things automotive all week long. You're invited to join fellow car enthusiasts in becoming part of the ever-growing In Wheel Time Car Talk family. Don't forget those 30-minute podcast episodes on your favorite podcast channel. Happy birthday, George. Welcome to the 2023 In Wheel Time Car Talk Show. Just ahead, hopefully, author Crispin Beasley with a book called Driven to Crime, Automotive Wrongdoing. Love it. Conrad has This Week in Auto History, and we'll get you updated on the stories making car news this week. Howdy, along with Mike Out of This World Mars, King Conrad DeLong. We need more Jeff Zekin. I'm Don Armstrong. Glad you could join us on this Saturday. This is our live show. If you're just tuning in, we have podcasts that are actually picked out of this live broadcast to be played on the podcast channels around the globe.
Around the globe.
Around the globe.
Mm-hmm. Awesome.
Worldwide.
What are you all whispering about?
I don't know what they're whispering about.
Croatia.
Don't ask.
Croatia?
Remember the Ford guy said
Yes,
they have a lot of
yeah,
downloads from
yeah.
Croatia.
Did you,
We have traffic from Croatia.
I was
as
going
well.
to try and tell them we actually hit 41 different countries with our program.
name the 41.
They're over there.
41. I can pull it up if you really want to know.
Well, I'd be interested.
No, he doesn't. He's just.
Do you
being
really
a-
want him to do that?
No, I don't want him to touch anything after he led me down the wrong pathway earlier this morning.
Oh,
Well,
my
I'm talking
gosh.
about an RV guy, and he says, well,
Yeah,
no,
well, I
not
do
really.
boats.
That was disappointing.
I'm
It
motorcycles.
was disappointing for me, too. Embarrassing, too.
Yes.
Yeah.
He'll be back. We'll see him Tuesday.
Mars won't be, but he will be. So we're all going to go to the big dance.
The
Yes, we
gala.
are.
Well, I'm just going to call it the dance before the car show.
See, is your dance card full?
My dance card's not full.
Oh,
I am taking a date.
But Don's going to have a gay law.
Leslie Aniki Yariko, who always tells me you never mention my name.
that's
Well,
what I tried
it's-
to do that earlier.
What's her
Kinda
name?
Shut me down. Leslie.
Aniki Yariko.
That's her last name?
Yes.
Can you spell that?
No.
ANNICH.
Took him 2 years to pronunciate it.
Pretty much, yeah. That's why everybody calls her Ms. A.
I can see why.
Uh-huh.
Very nice lady.
Very
We
nice.
love
lady.
you, Leslie.
Yeah, thank you. She says, you never say my name on the show. Well,
There's a reason.
boom,
He
there
wants
it
to
is.
make sure he can pronounce it
And he
correctly.
spelled it.
And I probably mispronounced it, but it's a close representation of what it really is.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah, we had dinner last night. It was fun. Got a little tipsy.
You did.
No, not me.
Yeah, you and your strawberry. Jeff likes strawberry margaritas.
Yeah, they're good. They're good.
With a little umbrella in them
Yeah,
Well,
maybe sometimes two.
and a wedge of pineapple.
No,
No,
it's
it's
none of
orange.
that. It's a little Mexican hat dance thing that
Mhm.
they put in
Do
there.
you put
Yeah.
pineapple on pizza?
No,
No,
and I don't put pineapple in my drink either. I don't know where you come from that, buddy. That's insulting.
now let's see. I think that I would put maybe an orange slice in the
Well,
side
they
of
do that, yeah.
Do they?
And the best way to drink tequila, if you're doing tequila shots, instead of the lime, you get an orange slice or a wedge. You put a little bit of cinnamon on there, and after you do the shot, you do the orange slice with the cinnamon. It's delicious.
Orange wedge.
Orange wedge or
Yeah.
slice. It's delicious, rather than the lime, because the lime makes you pucker.
Put the lime in the coconut.
No, you put the lime in
Drink it all
tequila.
up.
You, sir, you're on the bad list. Lead me down the wrong path.
I will admit
RV
that I
guy.
deserve to be on the bad list today. I'll give
So
you
that's,
that one.
That's our drinking lifestyles section.
Shots of tequila with cinnamon orange.
No, cinnamon on the orange, and
Same
then you
thing.
do that with instead of the lime. Try it. Send comments to Mike.
Have you had any good drinks lately?
Um,
Not since last night.
Cough medicine. I'm not talking about
no,
cough
and,
medicine.
Yeah, we did a little drinking around Christmas.
Did you? What did you drink? What is your drink of choice?
Oh gosh, probably vodka.
Vodka.
Tito's.
Oh no, I found me some Croatian vodka that the guy at not Specs but at Total Wine
Total
turned
Wine,
me
yeah.
on to. I said I want some vodka that won't give me a headache because everything gives me a headache. And he says,
See,
"This-
Mars, it's not just you that gives him a headache. It's everything gives him a headache. He just blames you.
That's true. I do. I blame him for everything. How'd you screw that up, Mars?
Oh, I got it. We were watching the football game, and there was dead air in the football game, and I yelled out, "Mars!" It was hilarious.
Everybody's got to be famous for something.
Yeah, and there you are.
We love you, man. We do.
Well, kind of.
We
Oh,
pick on Mike, but Mike is he's amazing.
He's
a great guy.
Mike Mars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
There is no other, I guess.
Do we have our next guest?
No, but we have our next guest.
No, I don't. We can do him, but that means that we won't have.
We're trying to reach him. He's in England. Time differences, and
He said,
It's 6 hours.
I understand.
Okay. So I don't
It's the
understand.
middle of the afternoon. I don't know. It's tea time or something. I don't know.
Tea time with
Trying to
vodka in it.
Trying to get
Does he
hold of
play
him.
golf?
he could be at Buckingham Palace.
Golf, that'd be in Scotland.
Tea time.
Well, not if you're on the golf course. You're drinking some Guinness.
Guinness and
Stout.
he's got his
Beer girls.
gimbals.
Well,
Is it gimbal?
at any rate, I am going to just in case that he does check in with
Give
us.
him a couple of more minutes.
It's a book called Driven to Crime, True Stories of Wrongdoing in Motor Racing. More than 60 true stories cover webs of deceit in numerous crimes, including drug trafficking, corruption, embezzlement, robbery, fraud, murder, and money laundering.
And that's just one team.
That's right. The subtitle, Stories of Motorsport Chicanery from All Around the World.
Oh, there's a pun.
Yeah.
Chicane
Yeah.
in motorsports.
Fraud.
Does that go again, Jeff?
Lay preachers who faked suicide and hid on a remote Scottish island. Jerry Dominelli, a Ponzi scheme that funded top-level racing Porsches. Jean-Pierre Van Rossum, and no, it's not the PR flack for the president, but it is Jean-Pierre.
Easy.
Self-styled stock market guru who bankrolled an F1 team. Dominic Chappelle, serial bankrupt racer brought down after purchasing a British department store. David Thiem, Theme, or however you pronounce it, Thieme, the Lotus sponsor who vanished.
Carvana.
Murder. David Blakely, the driver killed by his lover, Ruth Ellis. Franco Ambrosio, F1 sponsor of Shadow and Arrows. Elmer George, American racer who married into Indy royalty. Ricardo Londoño Bridge, Colombia's first F1 driver. Mickey Thompson, 1960s American drag racing icon. Nick Whiting, casualty of the biggest gold bullion heist in British history.
Wow.
Swindles, it's a category. James Monroe, accounts manager who embezzled his way to a racing McLaren F1 GTR. Lord Brockett, jailed for staging the theft of his classic cars, including Ferraris. Andrea Harkness, a stripper who ripped off NASCAR.
Uh-oh.
Did you ever hear of her?
Imagine that.
Yeah. Something came off. Drugs.
Ripped off.
Ian Burgess, sometimes British F1 racer. Randy Lanier, drug smuggling IMSA champion. John Paul Sr. and Jr.,
Yeah, those are the guys I was thinking of.
talented son dragged into a racing father's drug running. Isn't there a movie about that?
Yeah, and they were actually running drugs inside the car. As it was being transported from country to country. They were quite a
I remember that
famous-
story. Yeah.
famous father-son team driving Porsches.
Vic Lee, super successful team owner with a dodgy transporter. And the Whittington brothers, more misdeeds in
Yep.
the IMSA circles. Other misdemeanors include Roy James, great train robbery getaway driver. Bertrand Gachon, jailed after road rage in London. Juan Manuel Fangio, kidnapped by Cuban rebels in 1958. I did not know that.
Wow.
You did. Of course you did. Colin Chapman, the unresolved DeLorean affair. Spygate, Ferrari design secrets passed to McLaren. I did not know that either. Anyway, this guy's a first-time author with a lifelong interest in cars and a passion for motor racing. So that's
Those are
basically
the chapters in the book.
the chapters in the book, and it's called Driven to Crime by Crispin Beasley.
Nice.
I'm sure that you can get it online. He lives in a 16th century manor house in Northamptonshire,
Without internet.
England. Without internet.
Without internet.
Conveniently located close to the Silverstone circuit.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So, well, I'm sorry that he couldn't be with us. His
Sounds like a
loss.
fun book.
Yeah, sounds like. Can you imagine sitting at home and trying to do research on all that stuff, trying to find the ugliness? But just like everything else, I mean, why would motorsports be any different?
Yeah.
You got all these characters.
And all the money.
And there was a
Lots of
television
money.
show.
Well, you got to
the
think, too,
Stu-
John DeLorean was accused of transporting coke. But I think that was all
to fund
dropped
his
to
facility.
fund his
yeah.
car company.
And there was a television show that the two auto reporters that they go back and look at history of things, and I think that was one of the episodes of
Of the Whittingtons.
right, exactly.
Crime
You know, it's
in motorsports.
Well, to me, that's kind of interesting. I mean, we know the story of John DeLorean and how he got
Hoodwinked.
hoodwinked and treated badly, but some of the others that you were talking about, you start thinking about all these big race cars and the millions it takes to do it. You start wondering, where do they get this money? You just assume they all got money. Well, they don't all got money. They all got to get money.
And in that, what he was reading, there's a lot of F1 in there.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Just saying.
Just saying.
And IMSA, which is kind of
Yeah.
surprising.
F1.
Well, F1's the biggest money in motorsports, I think. I think F1's more money than a NASCAR is.
Whatever.
Oh, absolutely.
Isn't it mostly manufacturer driven?
F1?
Yeah.
Somewhat, yeah.
Well, I mean, BMW, Mercedes, Ferrari.
And then the
Yeah, but
engine manufacturers.
I don't think they actually put the teams together.
No, they don't. But they supply the motors and
Right.
supply
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
the
yeah.
engineering.
tons of money in
Yep.
engineering and all of that sort
Then
of
they,
Yeah,
stuff.
then they have
money
their
to go.
sponsors that fund all of it.
Yeah.
Like Mercedes with Vodafone.
Yeah. Honda's-
Vodafone.
Oh, boy.
No, that's the wrong one.
That's a
Sorry.
different one,
That's
yeah.
a Don. Yeah,
Mhm.
that's a Don
Yeah, it's a
It's a
Armstrong
Paul
song.
Simon song.
Yeah, it is. But it's not Vodafone.
Motorhome.
It's
Chroma.
Kodachrome.
Kodachrome. There you go.
Motorhome.
Motorhome.
Motorboat.
No, that's Tuesday. We're going to go
that,
there.
That could be another story.
Electric
these
motorboat.
motorhomes and all these people. Because I saw. every
But
once in
you
a while
would
you
probably tell me it was something to do with boats. And if it was, they're going to interview somebody with a motorhome.
Could you pull your electric boat with an electric vehicle? I'm
short,
sure you could.
Short distances, yes.
We got to stop and plug in before we go to the lake.
Well,
Don's dumbfounded.
no, I'm sitting here. I'm thinking, I hear some swallowing going on, and Mars is over there drinking
He's
water
very
on
big.
mine.
That's so you don't hear my coughing going
Here,
on.
drink, hold your beer. Watch
Yeah,
this.
watch this.
All right. I want you to remember, please, if you will,
I'll have to write it
George,
down.
birthday George. Look for us at the Houston Automotive Show at NRG at a special time. We're going to be broadcasting live beginning at 10 a.m.
Mhm.
next Saturday. So we're going to go from 10 to 1. We'll get the 3-hour show in. We're just going to delay it a couple of hours so we can experience all of the crowds that usually rush in the door
Right.
at 10 o'clock.
Right, they're actually opening a little earlier. I think didn't it last year when at 11? I think it's 10.
It's-
Yeah, it's at 10 o'clock.
But
So
generally, we're there 2 hours before the doors open, and there's no one there.
there's nobody there. So
So we get free reign. They don't want us to do that anymore. They want Jeff to leave his fish in the back seat of something.
Dang it.
the fish that you caught.
Yeah. Trout.
You know,
Jeff would be over there seining.
yeah, or netting. Yeah,
Shining.
that's where the term fish nets come in.
Mm-hmm. I learned.
Zekin.
I watched that show Swamp People. So you kind of like go down there and noodle them out. Have them pull them out by hand.
Yeah, no,
Noodle.
That's canoodle.
No, it's
Canoodling.
noodling.
Noodling.
Noodling. I
It's
like
where you
canoodling.
reach under the edge of a
Rock structure.
of a bank to pull a
And they bite on
50
your
pound,
arm.
50-pound catfish out that's
Or-
big enough to suck you under,
or an eel,
or a snapping turtle.
or an alligator or something.
Or a clam.
You know,
I'm
part of
going to visit the
I'm
place.
sure that the part of the appeal of this show is the oddball things that we manage to come up with, because it can't be anything serious about cars.
Fountain of useless information.
Pretty much, yeah. I do have some very interesting news stories, and I'd like for us to discuss this one. Tesla price reductions for the best-selling EV in America,
Big price reductions too.
and the effect that it is having on the entire auto industry. All of the manufacturers that are hurrying and trying to get their EVs to market so they can make the money. Well, somebody by the name of Elon Musk just threw a wrench in the works because the Model Y represent a discount of $13,000.
The Y? I thought it was the S Plaid that had a 13.
Just a moment.
At a big
Tesla
discount.
price reductions for the best-selling EV in America, the Model Y, represent a discount of $13,000 off the sticker price in addition to eligibility for the new tax incentive of up to $7,500.
Wow.
And shoppers are responding. On-site shopper consideration of Tesla vehicle pages on Edmunds jumped to 4% of all researched brands compared to 1.9% the week prior, according to Edmunds on Thursday. The Tesla Model Y became the second most researched vehicle on Edmunds, behind the Honda CR-V, up from 70th place the week prior. As part of Tesla's surprise price reductions last week, the base Model Y crossover saw a $13,000 price drop to $54,630. Puts it in the sweet spot of buyers, because now the average price is right under $50. That includes $13.90 for shipping and a $250 order fee. The cut put the Model Y below the $55,000 price cap for a new EV tax credit of up to $7,500. So do the math, right?
Yeah.
That's basically $20,000 off the price of the car. With the
Well, Elon's a smart man. He understands what that price cap was for the government rebate.
with a potential savings of $20,500 on the Model Y, the best-selling EV in the U.S. and globally, Tesla will win over shoppers who had been considering other EV brands, according to Edmunds. So he has upset the apple cart.
Again.
What has he sold? Over 400,000 EVs now?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And what was announced this week, of course, me being a Corvette guy, was the E-Ray.
I saw that. I want
Chevy
one.
giving
It's
the
awesome.
Corvette all-wheel drive and hybrid powertrain for the first time, but it's not quite ready to make the famed sports car fully electric. The Corvette E-Ray, available later this year as a 2024 model, will start at $104,295 for a coupe with removable roof and $111,295 for a hardtop convertible version, according to Chevy. All prices include shipping. The E-Ray will be the quickest Corvette yet, according to Chevy, capable of accelerating from 0 to 60 in 2.5 seconds. That's 1/10 of a second faster than the track-ready Corvette Z06, which costs several $1,000s more. It features an E all-wheel drive system with a 160-horsepower electric motor over the front axle and a 495-horsepower 6.2-liter small-block V8 powering the rear wheels for a combined 655 horsepower, making the E-Ray the Swiss Army knife of Corvettes, according to Brad Franz, marketing director for Chevy Cars and Crossovers.
I saw that.
So where are the
Very cool.
batteries?
Very, I don't know.
I'm sorry. Did you say something? General Motors, which is rolling out electric versions of popular nameplates this year, has confirmed it is developing a fully battery-powered Corvette as well. Officials won't say when that car will arrive. Chevy decided not to make the E-Ray a plug-in hybrid, instead designing it to recharge the battery mostly during coasting, braking, and normal driving.
Yeah, I
the
understand.
batteries are located in the tunnel where the drive shaft would normally be in a front
interesting. Yeah.
engine car.
Yeah.
And they're sandwiched in there. There's not that many of them, clearly, because it's
160 horsepower. Yeah.
right. And I just thought that it was very interesting because it also keeps the weight issue balanced
yeah.
throughout the car.
And they also stated that the recharge is on mainly the braking. You can it'll coast down and you recharge that, but mainly from the braking.
Yeah.
So
I think
very
it's-
cool.
So there's no real physical tie between the two different drivetrains?
No, because the electric's in the front
Drives
Yeah.
the front.
and the gasoline
And
drives the back.
the computer manages all that.
Mhm.
Correct.
Or could be a switch. You never know. I didn't find
And at
out.
that price, at just over $100,000.
It's not bad for a Corvette.
And I imagine a lot of the reason it's so fast is the all-wheel drive traction
Yes.
it gets versus the rear-wheel drive traction.
Correct. Yeah, you don't smoke the tires.
Weight
every time.
balance and all
Yeah.
that.
Well, did you see the video of the Corvette engineer driving it,
Mhm.
drifting it around
No, I didn't.
Milford? It's pretty crazy.
Well, you can shut off all of with the computers that are built into the car, You can do all sorts of things with it. You can shut off the EV part of it altogether.
Put it in drift mode.
Yeah, however you want to do it. But it's very cool. I'd love to drive one. Since I haven't driven a new Corvette C8 still to this day, thank you, Prestige.
Did you have
Did somebody wreck one?
No, I don't know.
didn't you have a?
Because there was one here in town.
Yeah, there was one. But they took it back. Well, why?
Because Don was next on the list, and I said, "No, we're
Yeah,
not."
I was
we're
on
not
the
gonna
list
give it
twice
to
to get
Don.
it, and both times, oh, I'm sorry.
Did you have an incident with your removable top this past week or last weekend?
Yes, I did.
Hmm.
Would you like to
you
hear?
were topless?
I wasn't. I was not. I was going to take the car out for a nice Sunday drive, got out, washed it, which I hadn't done for a while. Had to put a new battery in it because the other battery,
Well, yours is a plug-in hybrid, isn't it?
no, it's not.
Because you always leave it plugged in.
Well, it's
That's
not.
just
It's
trickle.
not anymore. Anyway, so I had it all ready to go. I'd taken the top off. Leslie said, "Let's go put the top off." I never take the top off, so I took the top off, put it in the back
Of the car.
of the car this time, and so all ready, waiting for her to get here. She gets here. I'd gone to the grocery store, done a bunch of other stuff. Car was outside the fence.
You
Click.
couldn't roll it down the street and pop the clutch and get it to start?
Click, 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 click. No, I did not. But before it did the clicking, I look in there. Birds had pooped all over the car, including now the topless car, and I had to get in and clean the bird poop off the seats. I was ticked.
The birds are up there going, "Look, Don took the top off the car."
Watch this. Hey, Jim, come on
Yeah.
over. Call all your friends.
Yeah, yeah. It's kind of like the crows on the old cartoons.
Hey, be glad there are no condors in Houston.
Yeah,
Get a
condors.
vulture to fly.
Well, I was
over
just
it.
going to say, have you ever seen the vultures? You know, those birds are really big.
Prehistoric birds,
Yeah, pretty much. Anyway,
elephant birds.
I've got another GM story to tell you about before we move on. General Motors on Friday said it will invest $918 million at 4 manufacturing plants in Michigan, Ohio, and New York for production of
batteries.
V8 engines and electric vehicle parts. The majority of the investment is related to GM's 6th generation small block V8. So apparently they're going to continue to build a gasoline engine. But I would imagine most of it is probably going to be truck related, but still they're going to build a V8. The investments will support GM's full-size pickups and SUVs. Gerald Johnson, Executive Vice President of Global Manufacturing and Sustainability, made the announcement. They come as GM prepares to begin a new round of contract talks with the UAW this year. And drum roll, please. Renault.
Renault.
Mm-hmm.
Renault.
Daphne.
Dauphine. The Renault sports car brand has aspirations to sell 2 models in the U.S., a mid-size electric crossover and a larger similar model starting in 2027 or 2028.
The Alpine.
Alpine is gradually increasing its number of dealerships, adding 40 sales points in 2022 for a total of 140. Future Alpine models will be electric. First to be launched will be the Renault 5 Alpine, a hot hatch version of the coming Renault 5 small EV in the second half of 2024. It'll be followed by a sporty compact crossover, tentatively called the GT, which will have a bespoke design and will use a highly modified Renault Nissan platform. Guess who did all of that?
Probably Nissan.
Well, it would be the crook that got caught.
Goshen.
Gosen.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
But he didn't get caught.
He bailed.
He left.
No, he got
he
caught.
left with his luggage.
He got caught. That's why he left.
Yeah.
Yeah, he got caught
where
ripping
he
off.
is
He's
now.
not a fugitive anymore.
He's in Lebanon,
Mhm.
his home country.
They know where he's at.
Any other questions?
Yeah.
I heard Renault.
Not that question, Mars.
I heard
Fine.
Renault and Nissan were revamping their agreement to make it a little more 50-50 and a little less Renault. Because the agreement right now is heavily on the Renault side, and they're trying to revamp it and make it a little bit more 50-50.
Favorable to Nissan.
Yeah.
Well,
And I think Renault is looking for access to Nissan's battery hybrid programs.
I want you also to know that
Their luggage.
Mazda's famed rotary engine
Mhm.
is getting primed for electrification because the pollution factor is high on that engine. The MX-30 eSkyactiv R EV plug-in hybrid which debuted at the Brussels Motor Show last week, features a gasoline rotary engine as a power generator. That, along with the 17.8 kilowatt-hour lithium-ion battery, gives the small crossover an electric-only range of 53 miles. Mazda said the range should allow customers to use the MX-30 in electric mode for most daily driving needs. All right, that's it for this hour, this segment of the In Real Time Car Talk Show. We're going to take a quick break, and we will be back right here on iHeartRadio.
Some things just belong together. Chips and queso, beer and barbecue, and the auto show and boat show. January 25th to 29th at NRG Center. One ticket, 2 great shows. Climb Jeep Mountain, forge your dream boat, get the kids hooked on fishing at the trout pond, and join Evolve on an EV test drive, including the Ford Lightning. See all the latest models at the Houston Automotive Show, January 25th to 29th. Beat the line and buy online at automotiveshow.com.
Your friends and hosts of the quarterly Tailpipes and Tacos Cruise In at the Lupi Tortilla in Katy want to thank you for your participation in last year's events and look forward to more in 2023. You'll hear about them all right here and online soon. Next time you're in the West Houston Energy Corridor area, be sure to stop in at the original Lupi Tortilla Tex-Mex near I-10 and Highway 6 or at the Katy location on the Grand Parkway at Kingsland Boulevard. In Beaumont or College Station, you'll want to stop in and have Lupi's award-winning beef fajitas and frozen margaritas. There's always a celebration at Lupi Tortilla. Lupi founder Stan Holt and his wife Sheila are car people through and through. Both are winning racers on the NHRA drag racing circuit and have a collection of hot rods and classics that everyone appreciates. You'll see them at the next Tailpipes and Tacos Cruise In the spring at the Lupi Tortilla Tex-Mex on 99, the Grand Parkway, and Kingsland Boulevard, just south of I-10 and Katy. We'll give you all the details soon right here on the In Real Time Car Talk Show and online. The award-winning In Real Time Car Talk Show is available on the most popular podcast channels out there in 30-minute episodes. We realize our 3-hour live show can be difficult to catch in its entirety, so now you can listen every day to a convenient, fresh 30-minute episode. Check us out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, and Audible, along with a dozen more. In Real Time has the most informative automotive guest interviews and new car reviews, along with popular features including Conrad's Car Clinic and This Week in Auto History, along with automotive news headlines. Our live broadcast airs every Saturday, 8 to 11 Central on InRealTime.com, the iHeart app, and on YouTube. Be sure to say hello when we're broadcasting from the Tailpipes and Tacos Cruise In, Autorama, and the Houston Auto Show, among others. Now, it's easier than ever to hear about all things automotive all week long. You're invited to join fellow car enthusiasts in becoming part of the ever-growing In Real Time Car Talk family. Don't forget those 30-minute podcast episodes on your favorite podcast channel. We like that big bass drum beat.
Oh, yeah. The big kick.
It's your place to go for entertaining car talk, the In Real Time Car Talk Show. Coming up, John Carnahan, Spindletop Street Rod Club. Jeff has a feature on driving shoes for you and me. Later, we'll have the stories making automotive news headlines, along with Conrad's Car Clinic. What are you doing in the car clinic today?
Well, I was going to do something about driving in wet weather and how to deal with hydroplaning.
Perfect. Thank you. Well, it's all straight ahead on this edition of the In Real Time Car Talk Show. Howdy, along with Mike out of this world Mars, King Conrad DeLong. We need more Jeff Zekin. I'm Don Armstrong. Glad you could join us today. And joining us live via that ever-popular Zoom is a fellow by the name of John Carnahan. He is the president of the Spindletop Street Rod Car Club. John, good morning.
Good morning, guys.
How are you?
I'm doing fine. It's a nice rainy morning here in Mid-County.
Is it? Where are you? Where are you?
Port Neches.
Port Neches.
Outside of Beaumont.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
You're right there at the coast.
I am.
Uh-huh. How long you lived at Port Neches?
1952.
So you were born there.
Yes, sir, I was.
All
yes,
right.
I was.
So you didn't go far. What do you do for a living?
Well, I'm happily retired now. I worked in an engineering company for right at 47 years.
Wow.
And decided I had enough fun doing that, so I went on to do what I wanted to do. So
And what is that?
currently I'm doing, say again?
And I said, what is that?
Oh, well, I've got some old cars I like to tinker with. I work out in my yard. I have 5 grandchildren, and we travel some.
What do you travel in?
Oh, I've got a Suburban.
The Suburban.
We do, yes, sir.
Okay. Well, I was
My
waiting
new
for,
C8.
I was waiting for you to say I've got a great big pusher RV. It's 50,
Oh, no.
50 feet long, 4-bedroom.
That's something like Mike would be driving, probably.
No, Mike, no.
And pull
no.
my electric boat.
Yeah, and he try to get that 20-foot high pusher RV underneath a 9-foot bridge.
All right.
Just got to go fast enough.
Yeah.
That's right. You get up
the
ahead
Get a
of
running start.
Get ahead of steam there.
Let the
yeah.
air out of the tires.
Well, John, I want to know a little bit about the Spindletop Street Rod Car Club. Would my 2001 Corvette fit in that rod club?
No, let's see. How old is that? That's, yeah, that would work. We could get you in there.
Well,
We have about-
it's 22 years old.
Yeah, it'd be real close. And we're not just street rods anymore because, unfortunately, us older guys, people that have street rods are, getting to the point where they don't go out and do as much.
No, hell, they're dying.
That too. That's not a good thing for our age, but that's happening too.
Yeah, uh-huh.
So we've expanded. Matter of fact, that's the reason I'm in the club, because it was Spindletop, and now it's also Spindletop Rods and Classics. I've got a 1969 Camaro. That's what I had. And I've also got a 55 Chevrolet 4-door, which is 4-door. Oh, my God. But my grandfather bought it new in 1955. And honestly, that car would be a perfect car for someone with a family that wanted to get in the hot rod hobby. It's 4-door. They can bring their family with them. They can put their LS in it or whatever they want to do.
No,
Yes.
don't put an LS.
Oh, yeah.
Is it a stock 55 4-door?
Yes, sir.
Oh,
All the assorted whiskey dents that came with it being that old,
so it's got
Yes, sir, it is.
it's got a 265 V8 with a 2-barrel carburetor.
No, actually, it's a 235.
Oh, you got the
grandfather went in.
6-cylinder in
Yeah.
it.
It's a 6.
A
yeah.
straight
My
6.
My grandmother sent my grandfather to a Hill Chevrolet in downtown Port Neches, and because they were going to a family reunion in Ohio, and they wanted something they could drive, right? So he went in there and bought the cheapest car he could possibly get. And she figured he'd come home with a black one. Well, Mike is green, just like my Camaro is. Not only that, the oil filter is non-existent because that was an option back in 1955.
An oil filter was an option?
Yeah.
Yes, that is correct.
I had no clue because my 54 Chevrolet had the 235 in it with the 1-barrel Rochester.
Right.
It did have an oil filter, but it was in a truck.
Okay, well, see, those oil filters are probably, yours was probably the same way, that round cylinder, like probably on the left side of your motor.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
was an option.
It was an option.
Or at least it was in the car.
Yeah, well, I don't know. At least it was on this truck, but yeah, it was one of those wet oil filters. So
Yeah.
you unscrewed the top, took the top off, and there it all was, that ugly, nasty stuff. And good luck trying to get that out of there with not having oil all over the place.
So you're not talking about the air filter, are you?
No, talking about no.
Because they have an oil bath too that you have.
Oh,
oil in
yes.
that.
Yeah, oil bath air filters.
How about that?
Yeah, I remember those as well. I'll never forget the first time I cleaned one, had no clue what I was doing, and didn't know it had oil in it. Well,
Oh, yeah.
well, you can imagine they got that all over
And
the
nowadays, the new filters, you put oil on them.
place. Yeah,
Some of them.
some of them. I will tell you that I had a very good friend of mine, Ronnie Green, who's deceased now, but he inherited his grandmother's 57 Chevrolet, and it did have the V8 in it, but it was a four-door, and it was kind of a reddish orange car, and it had that funky cloth interior that I don't think. Can you still buy that cloth interior? There's
companies that sell everything, especially the Tri-5s like that. You can get just about anything. It's a reproduction, but it's very similar in look.
Yeah,
retro.
Yeah. I don't even know what you would call that stuff, but it had a pattern in it, and it was
Houndstooth.
No, it wasn't Houndstooth.
Tweed.
Oh,
He's got houndstooth in his '69 Camaro.
I'm sure that he does.
Yeah.
Well, so let's move on from the 55. Let's just go right to the good stuff.
Nice segue there for you, huh?
Let's talk about the '69 Camaro. Is it?
Yes, sir.
Is it? It's not a Z28.
No, it's a Super Sport.
A Super Sport.
Originally, it was a 350 SS 350, and about 8 years back, I decided, second childhood thing. I was able to restore it. Not that it was in that bad shape, because it really wasn't. But I had the motor reworked, and it's now a 383 stroker. So it's got the original motor, same VIN number and everything. And I went with a 700R4 transmission for the car, but I saved all the parts. So if and when I ever get rid of it, whoever gets it from me can go back and make it all original. So
Now, you've had that thing a long time, haven't you, John?
1971. I bought it with a little over 9,000 miles on it.
And how many miles it got on it now?
About 105,000.
Well, that's
So that's
So
nothing.
he drives it. Yeah, but I mean, that's the thing is he drives it.
Yeah. And I assume that you somehow, some way, put air conditioning in it, or it had air conditioning in it.
it came with air conditioning. And that's one argument my wife and I have, because she wants the air conditioning, and I'm not so much. So that's why they put windows in them. You can put your elbow out the window and just drive. So that's probably our one argument about that car. But on occasion, I'll put the air on for her, so I don't mess her hair up or whatever.
Yeah. Well, that's good. And apparently you've been married for quite some time.
40 years.
40 years. Yeah. So you learn to tolerate one another.
That's pretty much it.
That's it. All right, so let's talk now about the Spindletop Street Rod Car Club. So when I think about a street rod, it doesn't include a 2001 Corvette. I'm talking about something pre-1970 would be my guess when it comes to, street rods.
Yeah, we cut off about 20. It has to be about 25 years old now.
Okay, yeah.
Because that's pretty much a classic. So you're right in the neighborhood. I've got a 2002 Camaro convertible that I'm not in the club with it yet, but it's coming. It's just a matter of time. So we accept any and all kinds, not just the street rods anymore, because like I said, there's not that many out there, at least not in our area. I know there's still a bunch out, but people just, as of COVID, we kind of lost some members because of COVID, one reason or another. And I'm sure a lot of clubs did, because, people are scared and they don't want to go out, and one thing and another. But we still have a good nucleus of club members. And we were lucky enough, we saved a bunch of the hard-working members. And they're the reason that we can put our show on every year.
You got a show coming up?
March 25th, we have our 38th annual Street Rod and Classic Car Show.
Where is it?
This could be in at Church on the Rock. It's on Highway 69 in Beaumont. We moved it there a couple of years ago because of COVID, and it turned out to be a good move for us because it was easier to get to. I didn't have to wait on people to decide if we could have our show, because we missed the show 2 years ago because they said, well, no, I don't think we ought to. Well, no, we can't do that. And they tried to do it to us the next year. So we found another place. And we moved to Church on the Rock. They were happy to have us. Matter of fact, our past president, Joe Harrington, God rest his soul, we lost him to COVID. he was a member there, and they opened their arms up to us, and we've had the show there ever since in memory of Joe, and they're just thrilled that we come every year.
What is that
really
great big church parking lot?
Yes, it's a big church parking lot, front and rear, and so far we've had enough room. We had like 220 or 25 cars last year, and we're filling it up. So I'm thinking maybe 250 this year if we're lucky.
Well, obviously that you're drawing cars from outside of Port Neches.
Right. We used to get a lot more from out of Jefferson County, and we still get some. There's so many car shows around now. Everybody, churches, and everybody thinks it's an easy way to make money. Well, you can make money, but there's nothing easy about it. There's a lot of hard work planning and getting your location, and people like to know where their money's going. You know, like, what's this for?
Well, where is your money
And,
going when I pay? How much is the entry fee?
The entry fee is $25 pre-register and $30 at the day of the show. So if you're scared it's going to rain, you don't want to get your car in the rain like something I would do, for the extra $5, I can buy the ticket at the door and go on in. We'll probably be there about 7-ish, accepting people and placing cars on the parking lot.
Is this on a Saturday?
It's a one-day event now. We used to do 2, and it just got to be too much, and people were spending too much money. They'd come from like Houston, and they'd have to find a hotel and one thing and another. So we kind of decided as a club, we backed down to one day, and actually the attendance picked up.
One of the great things about that, where they're at the Church on the Rock, when the church built that property, they bought everything in between the 2 major highways. So regardless of which highway you're on, 4 lanes highways, you can get to it and pull into the church parking lot from either direction, whether you're going north
That's
or
correct.
south. And it's really easy in and easy out.
That's good.
So you've either been to the show or you go to the church.
I go by it every time I go in and out of town.
Well, he skirted that.
Can't go to the show because I'm over here.
Well, you could.
I used to go to the show when it was a 2-day event, and he was right downtown in Nederland. They would have it for 2 days, and then the city got involved. That's who he's talking about. He's
Okay.
just nice enough not to say the city.
Well, we need to have y'all at a remote next year.
Yeah,
we
you need,
mentioned that
you
last
need to
year.
do that so you can buy us some motel rooms. So,
Sure.
7 a.m. to what?
Oh, about 4 o'clock.
To 4 p.m. And what's the date?
March 25th, 2023. I
March.
sent Mike a flyer on his phone, so he's got that. I also sent him a picture. I just sent it to him, so he doesn't know he got it, but he got it. And I also sent a picture of the little girls we're helping. The ones we are helping this year is Hadley and Holly. I don't want to say their last name, but one is 9, the other's 5. And they both have an autoimmune encephalitis. The 9-year-old got it about, I guess she was 5 when she developed it. And they did all kind of things, you know, Texas Children's Hospital. They went over there and they worked hand in hand with them in several other places in Houston. And they finally got it slowed down or in remission. But then they got some other things that keep coming. And it's a terrible disease. You know, it actually makes antibodies that attacks their brain. And then she has another one that I can't pronounce. It does the same thing, but it does it attacks her stomach. So it's a terrible thing. And so they found out they were pregnant. Of course, parents are concerned that, you know, they'll share that disease with their next child. Well, they took the doctor said, there's no way, it's not hereditary, Well, it turned out it was. So now they have 2 children, Hadley and Holly, beautiful kids, and they both have this disease. So they spend their life in their car or whatever, going back and forth to Houston and other institutes of health, trying to get it better. But it's a constant fight every day. And that's the money we make this year goes to help those 2 young girls, help pay the medical bills.
That's good stuff. So you're looking for a couple of 100 cars over there.
We're hoping for that. it's all about the weather. You know, we were blessed last year. The good Lord put the sun out, and nobody didn't think about not coming because of the weather. So they all showed up.
It's the 38th annual Street Rod and Classic Car Show, Church on the Rocks, $25, 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. on March the 25th. And,
Yes, sir.
and you know, 7 o'clock. So that means I'd have to leave here probably about 5, something like that. I live on the southwest side of town over here in Houston.
Well, you can spend the night with Mike.
No.
Oh, yeah. Look forward to that.
No, I'm not spending the night with Mike. Although Mike would like that, I'm not going to do that. I'm no.
He might let you drive his new C8.
Yeah, but but the snoring is just unbearable.
Yeah.
So, at any rate, well, John, it's great to talk to you. We really appreciate the time you've taken this morning to talk to us on the Spindletop Street Rod Car Club and Classic Car Show coming up on March 25th. We thank you, sir. Best of luck to you. It's great talking to you, and stay in touch.
Thanks, John.
Good to
Thank
see
you,
you
sir.
guys. I'll talk to you later.
All
Thank
right.
you, Mike.
Oh, I cut him off. Sorry. I thought he was done. Anyway. All right. Time now for the. Do we have anything in the racing calendar?
Yeah.
Don't we have Daytona coming up?
Yep.
Pretty soon.
Well, this weekend is the Roar at the 24, which is the prelude event to the 24 Hours of Daytona. So they are running the Cadillacs and the Porsche.
Of course.
The Corvette's running this weekend as well.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all running at Daytona. And then next weekend is the 24 Hours of Daytona. The NHRA March 9th is the Gator Nationals, and that'll be the opening round.
Yeah, they don't open and close it at Pomona anymore.
No. And then March 24th will be the Arizona Nationals at Wild Horse Park Motorsports Park. And then March 30th is the Winter Nationals, which used to be the opening round at Pomona.
Yeah.
And then NASCAR is on February 5th is the Clash at the Coliseum, which they thought was so successful last year.
I'm sorry.
Running a dirt track in
I'd rather watch
in
Formula
the
One.
L.A. Coliseum.
Yeah. No, it wasn't dirt. It was a short asphalt.
I thought it was dirt.
I thought it was dirt too.
Yeah.
I think they
It
put
was the
dirt
first
in
dirt
there.
time, yeah.
Yeah, dirt.
So they think that's the way to start the season off, and then the 24 hour, and then the Daytona 500.
Yeah. I'd rather watch Formula One.
Okay.
Especially since Cadillac's going to Formula One. If Andretti can get him to pull it off.
Yep.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Let me hear that again. Cadillac is going to Formula One.
Yeah.
Is he still going to be sitting in the corner pouting?
No, I'll be a
Yes.
supporter of Cadillac. I will.
And so you'll watch the Formula One
Just the
race.
Cadillac.
With Michael
one
Andretti
eye.
as the team owner.
The other eye's not going to watch it. Just watch with one eye.
I'd like to remind you that if you'd like to get in touch with us anytime, you can shoot us an email. The address here is info@inwheeltime.com. Now we have a
And
very
then
special
March 24th.
Oh, I'm
to
sorry. I
the
thought you were
25th
done.
I thought it was too.
In Beeville, Texas, is the Texas Mile Spring Race.
That was the biggest pause known to man.
Pregnant pause.
Oh my
We're
gosh.
men of pause.
Are you done?
Yes.
Man,
There's a little anecdote there.
Testing.
Yeah.
took a lot out of me on that one.
All right. We have a very special segment.
Uh-oh.
One that I've been looking forward to. I can tell you that.
Shoe shopping with Jeff.
Shoe shopping.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And I have to tell you that I have actually been looking at driving shoes or racing shoes. They're not really the same. Driving shoes are like racing shoes, and they pretty much don't have a heel.
But they're for driving, not for racing.
Right.
Correct.
And the way this came about, we were doing maintenance on the equipment here in the studio last weekend. And Don had mentioned, I'm thinking about, we got the Hot Rod Tour Texas coming up. I'm thinking about getting some driving shoes, make it a little bit more comfy and all that. Little light bulb went off. I said, I'm going to do that segment. So here we go. I'm going to just fire this right up.
Yeah, you can do it.
Yeah, I can do it.
Okay.
So most discussions around driving are usually centered around the engines and the brakes, but very few articles take time to display
Fashion.
Well, the most important aspect of it is the driver. So one of the most basic ways that a driver, this is a long intro, Mike, basic ways that a driver can ensure a safe and comfortable drive is by considering the shoes that she or he wears.
They almost look like bowling shoes.
Or shim.
Almost.
She, he, or
Haven't
shim.
heard of driving shoes? The idea is simple. They feature the soles to help driver with an undiluted feel of the pedals at your feet.
Undiluted.
They also possess a fine line between cool and nerdy, and the color palette ranging from an inoffensive brown to navy to a louder than a Ferrari red or even a yellow pair of shoes.
Or black.
Or black. Driving shoes are a difficult subject for some people. If you're in the market for a pair, then you're likely got a cool sports car,
That's attractive.
interested in spirited driving, and want a greater feel of the pedals. Something that you can actually feel. People say, you drive
Look
with
like
the seat of your
Vans.
pants.
They look
Yeah.
like what?
Vans.
Uh,
Skateboarder shoes.
yep. The trouble, there's a fine line between attractive and comfortable, and that's what you're looking at. Some of the attractive ones that you've added for your feel of the feet, but don't wear your bright red karting shoes when you go to Walmart or the grocery stores, because that's just not very cool to do. So we're here, Conrad, to help you toe the line
So
By
to speak. Ha
by selecting driving shoes that are available to buy. So many of the shoes follow the moccasin design like you see there, where the soles or the sides are made up from one continuous piece of leather or suede with a one-piece or multi-piece rubber sole to be attached to it, to be attached for
My
your walking.
slippers.
Yeah, sort of kind of like that. A pebble sole offers the flexibility of a greater feel, while more traditional sole is more comfortable for walking from, say, the paddock to the podium or the house. Either way. So some of the features to be considered of the shoe is comfort. You can expect a great deal of comfort from the shoes that are specifically designed for driving, not racing, but driving. This is because the manufacturers took the necessary steps to add features that will make your driving much more comfortable. You want to minimize risk. Most driving shoes are designed to adequately grip the brakes and acceleration pedals. As a result,
The acceleration pedal.
the acceleration pedals, because sometimes you got them on the column, the steering wheel. As a result, the risk of your foot slipping off the pedal is reduced. Now, foot injury. People think about that. Driving shoes are designed to be practical for the intended purpose.
I've never hurt my feet driving.
Well, you should try it. The significantly
No, but that
minimizes
nail fungus is a problem.
foot injury while you're behind the wheel. Attractive?
Oh,
you want
fungus.
you want to be attractive while you're driving.
I
So,
do.
yeah.
That's my style
You want
right
the practicality of it. You don't want to sacrifice any style, because when you do get out of the car, you want to look cool.
Heck
No, this
yeah.
is all because Don hasn't figured out how to work the clutch with his 6-inch.
there. Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Some red ones.
Red
You got some
pumps.
red
Now,
pumps.
those are racing shoes.
And then here, coming up, you got some penny loafers, if you want to call them that.
Yeah.
But just generally loafers. And then we hear we have
Way
these.
more than
Oh
a
my
penny.
God! There's my next pair right
There you
there,
go.
ladies and gentlemen.
Now,
Some
you got-
red pumps.
You got red pumps with a small heel, a little 3-inch heel, and I think Prada makes those.
Uh-huh.
So you can get those from Prada. And then you've got some others that are a little high.
Oh, those are
high
my dancing
sole.
shoes, baby.
Yeah, and I think Joe Skelton. And then you got, they got the straps or the strapless.
With the ankle strap.
Yeah. the ankle
Yeah,
strap.
that's my
There you go.
trashy look.
There you go, the trashy look. And that's it. So, driving is different than racing. That's different than drag racing, Formula One racing. So you've got those opportunities to look at that. So get them. I'm sure you'll be fine.
Well, I'm a drag racer.
Well, you are.
So I think we're keeping Conrad awake
I
this
think we
morning.
are.
You tired?
A little bit.
It's early
Get you
morning.
up too early?
So
Early
what
morning.
would your drag name be?
George thought of one, didn't he?
Donna.
Yeah,
Don't
George,
you think?
George thought of E. Ray Ray.
Well,
Oh,
that
it's
would
for the
work. That would
Corvette.
work as well. E-Ray is my my ulterior,
It's your stage name.
my stage name. That's right. Well, it's funny because I actually did yesterday. Once again, I keep looking, and I'll tell you what prompted me. Goodyear. Apparently, somebody has made a deal with Goodyear to make a line of Goodyear shoes.
Recycled material, probably.
I don't know about that, but at any rate, some of them are looking pretty good.
Aren't those the one Rusty Wallace is selling?
I don't know.
That sounds familiar.
I don't know. But at any rate, I looked at those and then I started thinking, well, there are lots of companies that make racing shoes or driving shoes. So I go into Amazon.
Mhm.
Oh my God, there
Now,
must be
yep.
1,000 different
And
manufacturers.
They're anywhere from $70
Oh,
to
no.
$400.
$20.
Oh,
I found
really?
some for $20.
I saw them from like $69.99 up to $400.
Oh, $700.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My slippers are $149, but he's offering $99 off.
And you get a free pillowcase.
And you get a free set of Ginza.
Ginza knives. Ginsu knives.
Oh, boy. Yeah, we can cut metal cans and things. But, yeah, you should. I'm sure you'll be fine. And get a pair for Leslie, too.
Yeah. Yeah, because I keep...
So what do you have to do? Take them off when you get out of the car?
No, not necessarily. No. And they say they run really tight. They're really, if you got a size 10, it's going to probably be a 9 3/4, but they're tight, and I guess they do expand.
I don't know. That's the one thing, because I usually wear a size 13.
Oh, wow.
Well, you know what they say.
Braggart.
Big hands, big feet, warm heart.
Big ego.
Warm heart, big ego. There you go. We could go on and on.
Yeah,
but
I'm not going there.
We're not going to go on
got like
any
50
further.
things racing through my mind right now.
But I will tell you that I'm not looking for anything really expensive. It's got to be under 100.
Sure.
Because I'm not going to. That's ridiculous.
And you only wear them when you drive, and you drive the Corvette, so you're not going to be in that as a daily driver. You're going to go to, the car events, Chrome Coffee in them, and things like that.
The Hot Rod Tour of Texas is what I'm buying them for. Yeah. And then.
So you have to get them to look like a Texas flag.
Well, there's an idea.
Yeah.
Maybe that'll be for next year's Hot Rod Tour of Texas that he offers shoes
with the logo
with the
on.
little or Wick.
Let's ask Woody.
Yeah. Well, let's not say we did. All right. Time to move on. The In Wheel Time Car Talk Show is available 24/7 through the iHeartRadio app. Just look for In Wheel Time Car Talk. We also video stream on Facebook, YouTube, and InWheelTime.com. Podcasts at your fingertips on over a dozen of the most popular podcast outlets. The In Wheel Time Car Talk Show continues right after this quick break.
Some things just belong together. Chips and queso, beer and barbecue, and the auto show and boat show. January 25th to 29th at NRG Center. One ticket, 2 great shows. Climb Jeep Mountain, forge your dream boat, get the kids hooked on fishing at the trout pond, and join Evolve on an EV test drive, including the Ford Lightning. See all the latest models at the Houston Automotive Show, January 25th to 29th. Beat the line and buy online at automotiveshow.com.
Your friends and hosts of the quarterly Tailpipes and Tacos Cruise In at the Lupi Tortilla in Katy want to thank you for your participation in last year's events and look forward to more in 2023. You'll hear about them all right here and online soon. Next time you're in the West Houston Energy Corridor area, be sure to stop in at the original Lupi Tortilla Tex-Mex near I-10 and Highway 6 or at the Katy location on the Grand Parkway at Kingsland Boulevard. In Beaumont or College Station, you'll want to stop in and have Lupi's award-winning beef fajitas and frozen margaritas. There's always a celebration at Lupi Tortilla. Lupi founder Stan Holt and his wife Sheila are car people through and through. Both are winning racers on the NHRA drag racing circuit and have a collection of hot rods and classics that everyone appreciates. You'll see them at the next Tailpipes and Tacos Cruise In the spring at the Lupi Tortilla Tex-Mex on 99, the Grand Parkway, and Kingsland Boulevard, just south of I-10 and Katy. We'll give you all the details soon right here on the In Wheel Time Car Talk Show and online. The award-winning In Wheel Time Car Talk Show is available on the most popular podcast channels out there in 30-minute episodes. We realize our 3-hour live show can be difficult to catch in its entirety, so now you can listen every day to a convenient, fresh 30-minute episode. Check us out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, and Audible, along with a dozen more. In Wheel Time has the most informative automotive guest interviews and new car reviews, along with popular features including Conrad's Car Clinic and This Week in Auto History, along with automotive news headlines. Our live broadcast airs every Saturday, 8 to 11 Central on InWheelTime.com, the iHeart app, and on YouTube. Be sure to say hello when we're broadcasting from the Tailpipes and Tacos Cruise In, Autorama, and the Houston Auto Show, among others. Now, it's easier than ever to hear about all things automotive all week long. You're invited to join fellow car enthusiasts in becoming part of the ever-growing In Wheel Time Car Talk family. Don't forget those 30-minute podcast episodes on your favorite podcast channel. Welcome to the 2023 In Wheel Time Car Talk Show. Just ahead, Ben Miller from the Houston Auto Show, or Automotive Show, and the Classic Car Exhibit. Later, Conrad will have the In Wheel Time Car Clinic, and we'll have this week's automotive news headlines. Howdy. Along with Mike Out of This World Mars, King Conrad DeLong, we need more Jeff Zekin. I'm Don Armstrong. Glad you could join us on this Saturday, and welcome to the In Wheel Time Car Talk Show. This is our last segment of this week's live program, and we thank you for joining us, and I think that you're going to enjoy our next guest. And he is Ben Miller with the Houston Auto Show Classic Car Exhibit. Ben, it's been a couple of years, I guess, since we've talked to you. How have you been?
I've been good. How about you?
Well, we've been very well, thank you. We are looking forward to this year's Automotive Show, and I know that you play a part in that because basically you walk in the door and the cars that you've gathered together are the first thing that you see.
Yes, sir.
So a little bit of background. Ben, how, are you an auto guy?
Yes, sir. Uh-huh.
Okay. So do you own any classic cars? Because you certainly have the connection with everybody in the classic car field in the Houston area.
Yes, sir. My dad and I, we actually started collecting cars back we got the first car whenever I was 13. And then since then, we just started buying cars. And then I started buying some on my own. So I think we've got 8 or 9.
Okay. And are any of your cars in this classic car exhibit?
No, I was telling Mike yesterday, I've got a full roster this year. So if I have a full roster of cars that aren't mine, I would rather put those in than put one of mine in, because usually when I get done with the show on Sunday, I want to go home, and I really don't want to pull a trailer behind me.
So yours are the backup for this, the vehicles that you own personally.
If it gets close enough to the show, yes, sir. Because I was telling Mike yesterday, whenever I talked to him, whenever it gets to a point where it's really close to the show, like now, I mean, it's just, Monday is when we're moving in.
Right.
To get the signs ready and some of the stuff, it's just way too close to put someone else in to get everything ready.
You said you purchased some, you and your father. Where do you purchase them from? Independent sellers or auctions? How do you get your vehicles for your collection?
So we've done both, but from what I've seen, it's probably better to buy them from an individual. At an auction, it's kind of
iffy.
It can be a 50-50.
Is the car really what they represent it to be?
Yes, sir. I know quite a few guys down here where I live. I live in the Kemah area, and that they actually restore cars, and I've seen some bad. They thought they were good cars, and then once you start digging into them.
Interesting.
Yeah. So it just depends on what you're looking at, and if you know the car or if you don't know the car,
So what kind of fun stuff are you bringing into the car show this year?
Well, it depends on what you like.
Well, we like everything, and we always love the collection. I mean, does it span the globe from Model Ts to the newest?
I don't have any Model Ts this year, but it basically ranges from my earliest car, which I've never seen one before. It's an Allard.
Oh,
okay. An old Allard. So that'll be in the lobby. So basically, it'll range from that all the way up to, of course, all the muscle cars. Probably my latest one is probably a 79. Everything else is pretty much 79 and below.
So will you be at the show bell to bell the whole time, or are you just kind of wander in, wander out?
Well, people ask me whenever I accept people for moving, they ask, well, will you be there on Monday and Tuesday? And I said, well, if I'm not there, no one's going to know. The show office won't know what to do with y'all, so I have to be there Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Sometimes during the week I'm not there. It just depends on what's going on, but for sure the main days, and then I usually stick around on the weekend just to make sure the cars are okay and hang out.
Yeah, so there's static displays. You kind of dust them down with the duster and make sure that there's no dents or dings or people messing with the cars.
Correct. Yeah, as long as they don't get in the displays, that's not good.
Now you've actually done a very good job in the past of explaining what each car is with the title card that's in the display with the car. You going to do that again this year?
Yes. So we'll have the signs made for them that'll have the year, make, and model, and then the owner. And then I always tell the owners it's better for them to have a signboard made or something if they want to go into even further detail. I've got a few, like I talked to a couple yesterday. This lady, she bought a 74 AMC Javelin, brand new, and she's the original owner of the car. They bought it in Sherman, Texas, and so I asked her. I said, "What made you buy the Javelin versus a Mustang or any of the other cars that would have been around then?" And she said that her husband's mother, I guess, had a Javelin, and so that's what made her go that way. And she's had it forever, still today. And there's actually a few other cars that I've got that there's a lady bringing a 70 Charger RT 440 car that's plum crazy purple, and she's the second owner. She bought it in 1973. So there's some cool almost either original owners or almost original owners.
How do you find these people?
You just have to go to car shows and find them, or if someone shows with me, and I always tell them whenever they show with me, if you have another car, or if you have a friend that has a car and you think that it would fit well in the display, then tell them to get a hold of me, and I'll see if it'll work, And so that's kind of how it's either car shows or meeting someone and then meeting someone else. It's kind of like a roll of the dice.
So they're responsible for bringing their own vehicle in. You tell them where to set it up. They put the stanchions, the signage. So it's pretty much their responsibility once they get in the show?
So pretty much all they have to do is bring the car up there. And then once they bring the car up there, we have carpet and stanchions that go around it. And the auto show actually supplies that around the car. So all they really have to do is bring the car, and they're good to go.
It's not like the Autorama where they have to bring their own display and set it all up.
Correct.
Because for one thing, you don't know if they even have that.
Correct. Yeah, most people don't. I have one from whenever I showed at Autorama, but most people don't have displays like that.
Well, displays are bulky. They're hard to move around, and you pretty much have to have kind of like a support travel car to go with you to haul all that stuff.
And you got to have a place to store it when you're not using it.
Yeah.
When I showed at Autorama, we had an enclosed trailer that we'd bring the car up in, and then we had it pretty much set up where on the one side we had some racks there, so we'd put the carpet up on the rack, and then and it was secured, and then the stanchions we'd either load them in the trailer or I would pull my truck around. But it's changed a little bit because there's not as much parking out front in front of George R. Brown now. So
yeah,
exactly. Well, can I can walk into the NRG Center before I go into the actual car show. So if I pay for parking, I could go in there and see the cars, your cars.
You can see a quarter of them, maybe.
Really? So what's changed? Because it used to be all in the lobby out there.
Yeah. Well, I have not all of them are in the lobby. There's about 3/4 of them will be in Hall A. So if you wanted to, I mean, you could see some really cool cars in the lobby, but there's some other stuff inside Hall A that if you want to go see them, you got to pay. So
got to pay to play.
Yeah.
What is your favorite car that you've wrangled into this display of yours?
Oh.
Besides the Allard. The Allard is very unique. I've seen one actually in person, maybe the same car, I'm not sure. But they're a very rare automobile.
I don't know. It would probably depend on if you were going like for muscle or for a custom. I've got some really good cars. I would say as far as a custom goes, I've got a killer 1966 Chevy Suburban that's going to be there, and it's a full custom build
Panel.
So I would say that would be that, or I've got some really good muscle cars. There's a guy bringing a 69 Plymouth Roadrunner convertible that is beautiful. It's a beautiful restored. It's restored back to original. It's a beautiful car. I've got a guy bringing a 66 GT350 Hertz. So there's some good cars that are going to be in Hall A.
Interesting. Well, we look forward to seeing the classic car exhibit. Some of them out in the hall, the rest of them in Hall A.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, very good. Well, Ben, it's great to talk to you. Thank you. We look forward to seeing you at the car show. We'll be broadcasting live there next Saturday at special time from
10 to 1.
10 to 1. So look for us.
I might stop by and come see y'all.
Please do that. All right. Well, we'll see you then. Right. Take care of yourself.
All right.
Thank
you.
Bye-bye. Ben Miller.
He's got some great connections for some wonderful cars.
Yeah.
You know, if he's doing that by finding them at car shows, he's doing a very good job because he brings in some pretty cool cars.
He does.
And, as a car guy, and I've shown cars before, and I do cruise-ins, but it's not the same. I'll tell you that there's a certain bit of pride that you get by having your car shown at a show like this.
Oh, yeah. It adds to
some of
the pedigree of your car.
Exactly. And you get the pictures. And you can put that in your playbook, so to speak.
Yeah.
I went to this. I displayed the car.
The resume of the car.
Right. And when you go to sell it, if you sell it, it means a lot.
Yeah.
I don't think that they're showing for trophies, but
no. One of the guys that we talked to there at the Autorama, he stopped by and he was talking to us about the show and stuff, and he saw Ben's card on the table, and he was telling me he was just tickled pink. He was showing out his truck that he had over there close to us about how Ben had picked him and asked him to be in this, and he was thrilled. I mean, it's just like you say, it's a kind of an honor
really
thing.
Cool. What would really score big is to get one of the Magnificent Seven from Autorama to display at the Houston Auto Show.
We'll leave that up to Ben. Ben, if you're still listening, get her done.
Yeah. Well,
he's shaking his head.
He's still on it.
We cut him off.
He's working on that. Yeah.
Don't forget who suggested it.
Yeah. We want credit for writer's credit.
Yeah, something. All right. Why don't we move on to Conrad's Car Clinic?
All right.
Cool. I know that you've got something special for us today.
What are we working on?
Well, especially today, since it was raining, hydroplaning and what you can do if it happens while you're driving, because, I think most people can have experienced hydroplaning and hopefully they've reacted correctly, because if you act incorrectly, round and round you go, bouncing off things you don't know. So
that was good.
I know.
That was nice.
He was a poet and didn't know it.
Wet roadways during the rain can create several risks for drivers, one of which is hydroplaning. Hydroplaning is when the car's tire actually loses contact with the road and begins to ride on top of the water. That sensation of losing traction can send drivers into a panic, but the drivers need to remain calm. When the car begins to hydroplane, the driver will feel a loss of their ability to steer and control the car. It's crucial for the driver not to try and steer the car in another direction or step on the brake pedal. Doing so could cause the car to get into a skid. The DMV advises drivers just to ease off the gas and let the car slow down by itself and as it slows down, the tire will get back to the ground. And when it does, you get back to having traction. Drivers should then feel control of the car and return of the steering as the tires make contact with the road. There are various factors that contribute to a car's hydroplaning, such as the vehicle speed, the amount of rain, the tread on the tires. Hydroplaning is more likely to happen if the tire pressure is low or if the tread is worn down. The grooves in a tire are designed to carry water away from underneath the tire.
Mm-hmm.
And if those grooves are not deep, then the tire has a greater tendency to hydroplane. Cars at risk of hydroplaning when going 50 miles an hour. Cars are at risk of hydroplaning when they're going 50 miles an hour in a heavy rain, but it could even happen at speeds as low as 30 miles an hour if there's a significant amount of rain or a big puddle on the road. You could be driving around in your neighborhood and hit a puddle in the road and the car will hydroplane.
Yep.
And you can feel that sensation of when it hydroplanes, but don't react. Just take your foot off the gas, let the vehicle slow down. Don't turn the wheel, don't jump on the brake because you have no traction and it's not going to do anything beneficial. If anything, it can get you spinning.
Well, I will tell you, the Corvette's got some pretty big, wide meats on it.
Yep.
And that tends to actually contribute to what hydroplaning I do. And I don't find puddles to do it in, I can tell you that. But if it's raining pretty good on the tollway, on the freeway, doing freeway speeds, 50, 55 even, because when it's raining that hard, I typically slow down.
Mm-hmm.
And it will hydroplane in a New York second.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what I do. Just let my foot off the accelerator and just hang on.
Yep.
Don't turn the steering wheel. If it's going to go over to the emergency lane, I kind of let it drift over there, as long as there's not more water over there.
Or something.
Of course. But most of the time, I get traction right back.
Yep.
Doesn't take long.
And then, of course, that's they design tires for the water channel in between the treads. And, of course, your sipes, depending on how deep those are, your tread blocks, depending on how they're configured, can wash water away from the center of the tire as well. But yeah, all those are good points.
But the wider the tire, the more water it has to
You usually have more
displace.
contact
Right.
patch, the more contact patch on the road.
And that's why when you see them wave the yellow flag or the red flag at a car race, they're all on slicks.
Mm-hmm.
Slicks and water are not a good combination at all.
So again, if you start to hydroplane and you feel that disconnection to the road, don't react. Just take your foot off the gas and let the vehicle slow down until you can feel the traction comes back, and then you can go ahead and react.
And you can feel it. It's very distinct when it does come back.
Oh,
yeah.
It'll almost
jerk you back.
jerk. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, especially if your wheels turn the wrong direction and it jerks you back, then it's not good.
And hydroplaning is different than driving in a snowy area where you actually can spin out. So turning into the skid type thing, but that's totally different.
Right.
Have you ever heard of a white hat hacker?
No.
There's a white hat hacker and there's a black hat hacker.
The white hat guy is trying to do
He's a
good
good guy?
things.
Well,
Could be.
car companies typically will hire white hat hackers. So they hire these guys to try to hack in to their computer system.
A preventative thing.
Preventative thing. They're kind of like consultants, if you will. Hey, you've got a weakness here. We need to beef that up, whatever the case. So this is kind of a story about that. It can be, it's too lengthy, and I tried to cut it down where it still made sense, but you'll get the point. A group of white hat hackers cracked customer and back-end operations of a variety of automakers, including BMW, Ferrari, Ford, Jaguar Land Rover, Mercedes-Benz, Porsche, and Rolls-Royce. The findings are a follow-up to the group's discovery late last year of flaws in SiriusXM's telematic service that created breaches in Honda, Hyundai, Nissan, and Toyota models. Latest round of vulnerabilities give the hackers access to detailed customer information and internal administrative functions that was not disclosed until earlier this month because of a self-imposed 90-day moratorium. That's according to Sam Curry, an Omaha, Nebraska security engineer. And he was telling Automotive News this. Ford, Mercedes-Benz, Reviver, and Spirion told Automotive News they have closed their breaches now. a person named Shira Sarid Harsirer, a vice president of marketing
Say that
at
again?
Upstream Security. No, the Curry Group's hacks are akin to a home burglar robbing millions of homes at the same time, as opposed to a single residence, this person said. Citing a report authored by Upstream, this person said I'm not going to try to pronounce the name again, said the number of automotive application programming interface attacks jumped 380% in 2022 over 2021. This came despite automakers using advanced information technology, cybersecurity protections. All I'm saying to you is be wary of getting your car hacked into, because part of the story was some of these hackers hack in to your car, your make, your model, your VIN number, your car. Mm-hmm. They can do things like open the doors. They can start the car if it has a remote start feature.
Or shut it off.
Or shut it off, which is more scary. Mm-hmm. They can lock it so you can't get back into it. All of these things. And they're trying to prevent these things, but all these hackers are trying to get in there.
Well, I remember a number of years ago, Dodge and Ram, that made pretty big media about some hackers that had learned how to access their driver information center remote package.
There was that movie, Catch Me If You Can, about the kid that represented a lot of things in his life, airline pilot and so on, that they actually hire the dark hackers or the black hat hackers to be the white hat hackers to show them what they did and how they get into it. So there's kind of a reverse role play in that as well.
Interesting. Got a couple of recalls to tell you about. Volvo steering wheel may lock up. In the V60cc, the XC60, and the XC90 from 2019 through 2022.
Uh-oh.
That ain't good, is it?
Mm.
And, you know, the
Corvette went through that, too.
The list was short this week on recalls.
Didn't the Cobalt do that, too?
Yeah.
Yeah, but for a Volvo, for their reputation as a safe vehicle, that's not a good
thing. Do you ever get any Volvos? I haven't had a Volvo in years.
Yeah.
I'm in the process of reworking all of that.
The new ones are good looking. Good looking vehicle.
I agree.
Yeah.
Here's one for you. 84-month auto loans have soared in popularity among new vehicles and more than doubled on used vehicles over the past 5 years, according to Credit Bureau data. As of the third quarter of 2022, one-fifth of all new vehicle borrowers and 1/10 of all used vehicle borrowers are committing to 7 years of debt on their vehicle, according to Experian.
Wow.
In the third quarter of 2018, only 11% of new vehicle borrowers and 4.1% of used vehicle borrowers were on the hook for 84 months, according to Experian. By the third quarter of 2022, 19% of new vehicle debt and 11% of used vehicle loans ran 7 years.
And the banks love it because the rates are going up and you're paying longer.
Well, they're paying longer. They're paying more on the interest rate. But, I mean, it's a different attitude for that generation.
One guy here at an auto group called 84-month loans, one of his company's auto mechanisms for reducing a customer's monthly payment. However, he said, the group was trying to steer customers away from 7-year loans. Ultimately, 84-month loans in no way serves the customer. Leaders at the Auto Finance Summit this fall had mixed opinions on the merit of 84-month loans. Don't do 84-month at Wells Fargo, according to Wells Fargo auto head Tanya Sanders.
Don't do anything at Wells Fargo.
Yeah, I was going to say the same.
Well,
thing.
yeah, that's the point.
But
but the idea is this generation, they don't look at how am I going to pay this off, or am I going to pay it off before I owe more than what it's worth.
And what's the default rate?
Yeah,
what's the repo rate?
They just look at the monthly amount, the monthly payment.
You got to think in a 60-month note, a 5-year note, you're 42 months before you're in an equity position.
Right. You're upside down.
At the best.
Until 42 months.
So in an 84-month, you're probably closer to 60, 66 months before you're in an equity position.
I remember the day that you could only get a 3-member. You could only get a 3-year note. And I remember paying off those cars, and I'm going, I've only got 2 more payments to
Yeah.
And one more payment. And then all of a sudden you
The car
pay it
breaks
off,
down.
and then you get your title in the mail.
The car breaks down.
Yeah. Then you
your
went to the
title.
48 month, and everybody, ooh.
Yeah, 48 month.
Then you get that phone call about your car warranty. You need a warranty for your
Extension.
Time now for a quick break here on the In-Wheel Time Car Talk Show. We'll wrap things up right after this.
Some things just belong together. Chips and queso, beer and barbecue, and the auto show and boat show. January 25th to 29th at NRG Center. One ticket, 2 great shows. Climb Jeep Mountain, board your dream boat, get the kids hooked on fishing at the trout pond, and join Evolve on an EV test drive, including the Ford Lightning. See all the latest models at the Houston Automotive Show. January 25th to 29th. Beat the line and buy online at automotiveshow.com.
Your friends and hosts of the quarterly Tailpipes and Tacos Cruise In at the Lupi Tortilla in Katy want to thank you for your participation in last year's events and look forward to more in 2023. You'll hear about them all right here and online soon. Next time you're in the West Houston Energy Corridor area, be sure to stop in at the original Lupi Tortilla Tex-Mex near I-10 and Highway 6 or at the Katy location on the Grand Parkway at Kingsland Boulevard. In Beaumont or College Station, you'll want to stop in and have Lupi's award-winning beef fajitas and frozen margaritas. There's always a celebration at Lupi Tortilla. Lupi founder Stan Holt and his wife Sheila are car people through and through. Both are winning racers on the NHRA drag racing circuit and have a collection of hot rods and classics that everyone appreciates. You'll see them at the next Tailpipes and Tacos Cruise In the spring at the Lupi Tortilla Tex-Mex on 99, the Grand Parkway, and Kingsland Boulevard, just south of I-10 and Katy. We'll give you all the details soon right here on the In-Wheel Time Car Talk Show and online. The award-winning In-Wheel Time Car Talk Show is available on the most popular podcast channels out there in 30-minute episodes. We realize our 3-hour live show can be difficult to catch in its entirety, so now you can listen every day to a convenient, fresh 30-minute episode. Check us out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, and Audible, along with a dozen more. In-Wheel Time has the most informative automotive guest interviews and new car reviews, along with popular features including Conrad's Car Clinic and This Week in Auto History, along with automotive news headlines. Our live broadcast airs every Saturday, 8 to 11 Central on InWheelTime.com, the iHeart app, and on YouTube. Be sure to say hello when we're broadcasting from the Tailpipes and Tacos Cruise In, Autorama, and the Houston Auto Show, among others. Now, it's easier than ever to hear about all things automotive all week long. You're invited to join fellow car enthusiasts in becoming part of the ever-growing In-Wheel Time Car Talk family. Don't forget those 30-minute podcast episodes on your favorite podcast channel. Well, that's a wrap for this week's In-Wheel Time Car Talk Show. When you're online, hey, be sure and check out our Facebook page. Give us a like, tell your friends about us, and share our junk if you would, please. You'll get Conrad's Unicorn Hunting features, along with all things automotive all week long, including new car reviews, upcoming events, cruise-ins, racing events, and other informative and entertaining goodies.
That's what I look forward to.
You can find the In-Wheel Time Car Talk Show 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app. Be sure and catch In-Wheel Time Car Talk on our live video stream on Facebook, YouTube, and InWheelTime.com every Saturday, 8 to 11, except for next Saturday. Daily 30-minute podcasts are available from over a dozen of our most popular podcast providers. Next Saturday's live Houston Auto Show remote broadcast will air 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. The In-Wheel Time Chief Engineer is David Ainsley. Our Marketing and Advertising Manager and Video Technical Director is We Need More, Jeff Seekin. For Booking Agent and Podcast Manipulator, Mike Mars. And Mr. Know-It-All, his royalty, King Conrad DeLong, I'm Don Armstrong. Again, be sure and check us out next Saturday, live, 3 hours, In-Wheel Time Car Talk Saturday, January 28th at a special time, 10 to 1 Central Time on all of our In-Wheel Time Car Talk outlets. Have a great weekend. Stay safe, and we'll see you next week.